Happy 2026, as many of you all would say. I don't celebrate the whole quote unquote New Year's thing, but for those of you that do, hope you all had a great night. I'm super excited for today. I just got finished watching Malcolm X by Denzel Washington. If you've never seen it, I would highly recommend it. And I haven't seen that film since I was much younger. And I've been hearing people say all the time, that's Denzel's greatest role. And I'm like, man, have you seen Training Day? Have you seen Crimson Tide? Have you seen Inside Man, Man on Fire? You know, and obviously the list goes on. But I have to say that his role in Malcolm X is one of the greatest roles that I've ever seen in my life. And that film is an incredibly emotional, powerful film. And for a person to be able to just the performance was like, I forgot it was Denzel Washington, you know? Anyways, I'm mentioning that to say, if this YouTube channel was about racism, if this YouTube channel was about either for race, like if I was, you know, fighting against racism, if I was fighting against the narrative about racism, you know, if this YouTube channel was about makeup, about fashion, about cars, the size of this channel would literally be 5 times the size that it is right now. Because those things that I just named, including racism, are low-hanging fruit. Now, before anybody get offended, let me explain. Low-hanging fruit, I don't mean that it's not important, not that it doesn't exist. Low-hanging fruit, in the sense of we all know racism is real. It's just a matter of how prevalent racism is. That's really what the debate is about. How big of a role does racism truly play? How much is racism really preventing you from thriving and getting ahead in life? But I've chosen to make this YouTube channel about other things, about the people that's pushing division, about the people that really and truly run this world, the people that create the psyops. We talk about the psyops, but the people that create the psyops. And that comes with a price, man. Like, and so I'm just incredibly grateful for 200,000 subscribers. I know many of you often say, Didi, you deserve so much more, and your channel really should be, you know, much larger. Yeah. I felt that way, but I'm just so grateful for the grind, man. Like I'm just so grateful for the support. I'm so grateful. It's the reason why, like, you know, I'm going live to just say thank you. Thank you. I do this full time now. You know, I plan to start a family. I plan to buy a house, depending on what this economy looks like in 2 years, which, by the way, before I forget to say this, for my Patreon members, please be on the lookout, because in the next 2 days or so, maybe 3 days, I don't want to overpromise. So I'll put it this way. In the next 4 days, I plan to drop a video on Patreon about Donald Trump and his role in the Great Reset. If you've never heard of the Great Reset, I would encourage you to do just a little bit of a Google search on what the Great Reset is. And I'm going to tell you what I believe is taking place. And I believe it's going to start this year. And I believe Trump has already placed some things into, set some things into place. Some people that's in his cabinet has already done some things. And I'm going to drop a video on Patreon where I'm going to be sharing with you all from as far as the financial market, the US dollar, and the direction I believe America is headed, and why and how I think we all need to prepare and brace for that. I don't mean to say it as if there's something people need to be afraid of. It's not that. Especially if you're a man or a woman of faith, you have no reason to be afraid or fear anything or any human. But it's always great to be prepared. So let me make sure that I say that. I'm incredibly grateful for 200,000 subscribers, man, because the grind is not hard. But I plan to, depending on what this economy look like, I plan to start a family. Many of you all know that I just got engaged less than a month ago. Once again, pray for me and my fiance, because no relationship is going to be easy. No, anything worth fighting for is going to be easy, right? But I plan to do all those things off of a YouTube income, you know? So that is to say, it's the same as entrepreneurship. You just never know what these things are going to look like. Before I start rambling too much, I have Candace Owens on my thumbnail, and there's a reason for that. I am going to react. I thought it would make perfect sense for me to react with you all to an interview that Candace Owens gave back in 2024 that I believe was the single-handed, I mean, it's a bit hyperbole. There was a multitude of things that Candace Owens was doing that I believe extremely pissed off Ben Shapiro, Andrew Klavan, and the crew, which eventually led to her getting fired. But I do believe that this one interview that she gave with the rabbi while she was still at the Daily Wire, I remember when I watched it in real time back in 2024, my mouth dropped because she completely humiliated this rabbi. I don't know why he agreed to come onto the show. Metaphorically speaking, she just mopped the floor with this guy. And it's not Rabbi Shmuley. There's another rabbi that she debated, and I, to this day, believe it's the greatest debate that she's ever had before, because it just reveals how hypocritical and how the hypocrisy runs rampant on both the left and the right. At the Daily Wire, you are allowed as much as you want to talk and say whatever you want, as much as you want, and be as radical as you want about white liberals, about the entire black community, regardless if it's conservatives, liberals, or indifferent. You're allowed to say whatever you want about Muslims. But Jewish people and white conservatives are completely off limits. And that, my friend, is what you call hypocrisy. So I wanted to react to this interview because as I'm celebrating 200,000 subscribers, I think it's also important to go full circle, bring this full circle, because I was fired from my job almost a year ago. Almost identical, literally almost identical to Candace Owens' situation. Down to the NDA. I literally can't even speak about it. I literally can't even speak about certain things, just like she can't speak about certain things. It's kind of crazy. As a reminder, link is in the description to the merch store, Truth is a Person. There's that. Give it a look. Look around. I got some incredible, very creative designs on the way. I plan to have them out in the next few weeks. If you all like my allegedly shirt and design and all of that, I got some very creative stuff coming. So if you want to support Netway, link is in the description. Link is in the description also to my Patreon. All right. Hit the like button on your way in. And because I'm rambling right now, what I'm going to do is I see some super chats, and I'm going to respond to normal chats as well. I want to sort of split this. We won't react to the entire interview between Candace Owens and this rabbi because it's an hour and a half long. So we're going to watch maybe 30 minutes of it, give or take. And then I'm going to spend some time responding and doing sort of a Q&A. If you all want to have questions for me, sort of as a celebration, because this is a collective win for all of us, because this is not possible without the help from you all. So without further ado, let me go to the interview and we're going to react to it together.
For you today. Here in my hands, I am holding an article that was published by PJ Media. The title is Let's Be Honest, Candace Owens is a Jew-hating bigot. It was written by a rabbi, Rabbi Michael Barclay. So I read this article, and honestly, there are only two options here. Either this rabbi is genuinely ignorant of everything that I have ever said, in which case I'm happy to clarify it because he will be joining us on today's episode. Or the other option is he's completely aware of the things that I have said, and he is just a monster. All right, guys, we're going to jump right into this. As I stated at the top of the show, we have Rabbi Michael Barclay. He is, by the way, joining us really last second, so if the shot is not perfect, really appreciate him coming on such short notice. Rabbi Michael Barclay, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Candace. And Candace, I really want to tell you, I've written certain things, and it gives me great optimism.
I'm going to go ahead and pause this to say the number one word that comes to my mind, and it's probably going to come to your mind as you listen to this man speak, is insufferable. This person, this human being is insufferable. It's like they took a toddler like a 3-year-old, and they placed the toddler into an adult male's body, but the brain is that of a toddler. This is the number one interview that Candace Owens has ever given, and you're going to see why. You can almost not find it anywhere on the internet anymore because the Daily Wire scrubbed her videos. But thankfully, there were a couple of obscure YouTubers that took the interview, had already downloaded it, and posted it themselves. So you can find it here and there, but it's not just widely available for anybody to find as easy as it was before on Candace's channel that she had with the Daily Wire. So with that, let's take a listen to how this exchange is about to take place. If you have never been so entertained, if you've never seen this before, brace yourself.
They were gracious and reached out yesterday and wanted to get together. Actually makes me very optimistic.
Yes, so I am the ultimate defender of free speech, and I believe that we need more speech, not less of it. When we see things and we believe them not to be true, rather than censoring that individual, we should actually give that person a platform because people will walk away and be able to assess whether or not the statements they heard was true. And so just to give a little bit of background to people listening to this, you appeared on Charlie Kirk's show, and you referred to me as anti-Semitic. Is that correct? Okay.
Not only that, Candace, I've actually written a couple of articles, one in November and one last week, about your anti-Semitism. Yeah.
Correct. And referring to that article that you wrote last week, published on March 9th, the heading reads, "Let's be honest, Candace Owens is a Jew-hating bigot." So that's very punchy, very strong language. And I want to actually go through this article point by point so that you can defend your position and say why you wrote this?
Candace, I think before that, and as I said, I'm very optimistic that you would have a dialogue about something. I think before that, there are some real steps, which is I have called you, and I'm not alone in this, many Jews have called you an anti-Semite. Mm-hmm. I've also talked to people who say you have a really sweet heart, just so you know. You and I have a number of mutual friends in the world. But I think it's important to first identify what anti-Semitism is. It is a different type of hate than any other type of hate in the world.
Oh, really?
And if you and I are speaking crossways because we have a different understanding and definition, that's not going to lead to any dialogue. That's not going to lead. Look, I said to Scott, I'd love to walk out of here and say, you know what, I was wrong, and write an article, I apologize, and I was wrong. But the first piece is to have a mutual understanding of what is anti-Semitism. I think that would help a tremendous amount.
I actually totally agree with you on that. That is a perfect place to start. Could you provide for us a definition of anti-Semitism?
Absolutely. I really appreciate that because I think that
like all that. I really appreciate. Don't stop all of that with the performative. Stop being performative. Stop with the theatrics. She said, "Can you define anti-Semitism?" You're gonna see why he's so theatrical, because as soon as he's done doing all of this rambling and filibustering, he's about to give one of the most ludicrous, definitions of anti-Semitism you've ever heard in your life. Wait till you see this. And I just knew when she dropped this, I'm not going to pretend as if I knew she would be fired, but I thought to myself, how in the world is Ben Shapiro about to let this slide? I was like, she doing this at the Daily Wire? She interviewing these people on their dime? I wasn't hoping that she would be fired, but I was like, there got to be some weird conversation. Then, of course, eventually, a video footage was surfaced of Ben Shapiro ridiculing Candace Owens at some wedding. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll show it to you. Ben Shapiro criticizes Candace at wedding. I think it was at a wedding. Where is it at? 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 Criticizes Candace 2024. 2024. And of course, I can't freaking find it. Whatever. Anyways, it came out and it was just crazy. It was just absolutely crazy to see it. But let's continue.
Is the break. If we're not speaking the same language, where can we go, right? So there's a man, a blessed memory man named Lord Jonathan Sachs, who was the chief rabbi of England. He had a great line. He really defined anti-Semitism. That anti-Semitism is Jews have no right to exist collectively as Jews with the same rights as other human beings. Which is kind of a weird statement. So let's just track back a bit to understand the history of anti-Semitism. 2,000 years ago, Jews don't accept Jesus as Messiah. For people who do not have faith, as the early Christians, as some of them have faith, some of them accept Jesus, but they don't really in their heart. And you and I both know people like Rob McCoy who accepts it fully in their heart, and other people who are doing it without faith.
Imagine in retrospect how crazy it is to hear him reference Rob McCoy with everything that's happened over the past 4 months. Remember, this interview took place in 2024. In 2026, to hear him saying Rob McCoy as somebody that has real faith. Anyways, I digress.
And those who have less faith, the fact that a Jew exists, let alone thrives, is a threat to their faith, because how can the Jew not accept Jesus as God and still thrive? Unless he's associated with the devil. So you start having these myths that are created of the Jew being identified with the opposite of God. This really codifies in 1144 in Norwich, England, what's called the Blood Libel. This is really important to understand, especially today in 2024. In 1144, a young boy is killed, and the local priest says that's because the Jews need to make their matzah with Christian blood.
Remember, all she said was, can you tell me what anti-Semitism means? What is all of this? I don't think there's anything wrong with giving history lessons when they're necessary, but brother, she don't need all of this. It's like you're trying to reprimand her. Give us a definition. You're doing this because you can't just give one definition of it, and y'all are about to see it.
It's called the Blood Libel. It's blame the problems of other people on the Jew. It's just so you know, that's so ridiculous, not only just on its face, but we're forbidden from even having meat that has any blood in it. This is a Torah law. You can't have, that's why, we can't have steak tartare. Okay? So this gets perpetuated in combination with a 4th century, what's called the Vulgate.
I'm sorry, did you say in 1140 this happened?
1144 in Norwich, England.
Okay.
This is after in the 4th century, you have something called the Vulgate. The Vulgate is the official translation of the Bible. In Hebrew, there's no vowels. And the person who translates, St. Jerome, who translates the Vulgate, knows what he's doing is translating wrong. He puts down that when Moses comes down from Mount Sinai, he has horns, okay, Karen, when actually the word was Karan, meaning that light shone from his head. So now by 1144, you have the anti-Semitic myth of Jews have horns and they drink blood. And I know people who've been asked when they went into the army and other places, can I see your horns? So this still exists today in 2024 throughout America. And I don't mean just in little rural areas. It exists today, these myths. That Vulgate Bible is the official Catholic Bible all the way through the 1970s. So it is, you need to understand that that's a piece of it, okay? That they're equated with this kind of hate. Because it's about Jews not having the right to exist collectively, when they leave, by the time you get to the 18th and 20th centuries, when so many Jews have assimilated, they are in culture, they are in arts, they're in science, it's no longer against them for their religion, it's against them for their race. This anti-Semitism is the oldest hate in the world, and the hate that mutates. In 1948, because remember, it says Lord Sachs.
Oh, I just want to pause it. You said it's a hate that mutates.
What does that
Correct.
mean?
So your belief then is that the definition of anti-Semitism can necessarily change. Is that correct?
It's not just my belief. It is the commonly accepted understanding in both the Jewish and academic worlds.
Okay.
This isn't, okay? As I said, that's why I quoted, this is a quote. It's a great thing from Lord Sachs, Jonathan Sachs. It's a great thing from Nihilecka. This is just accepted as the understanding of, by cultural anthropologists.
So I would just say off the bat, I do not accept that definitions can just mutate. That is something that I could debate that on, like the definition of a woman. I mean, and I'm saying not just about Jewish people. I think that we have to have a concrete definition to work with, because then you can just update and say, actually, I've changed that, and now this is what constitutes anti-Semitism.
But Candace, that is the horror of anti-Semitism. So what you are saying to me is that anti-Semitism is this and does not change. What I am saying to you is that the entire world and scholars about anti-Semitism recognize that it is a unique hate. That if you define it as that Jews should not be able to exist collectively, okay, as a collective, they just shouldn't have that right. That changes from the Middle Ages with religion, the 18th through 20th centuries about race, and then after Israel is created, it's a hatred based on the nation. And until that is understood, that it is, this isn't something that's really questioned about among academics, theologians, Jewish scholars. I'm not presenting it. This is why I thought I'm so optimistic about a dialogue. But I think part of it is you view that the hate can't mutate. And what I'm trying to tell you is that we have 2,000 years of history that demonstrate the exact opposite.
So, and I'm going to just push back just gently here. For me personally, if I thought that racism could just be an ever-shifting definition based on the experience of Black people, it would be a remarkable power, and I would be able to create something like BLM, which could say that everything was racist. So I am not going to be able to agree that definition should be able to transform according to what's happening during the day. But here's what I will say. If you could, just because I think it's really important for us to get to going through this article, because then you might be able to explain why you view it as anti-Semitism. If you could just give us what you are saying the current definition of anti-Semitism is today, that would be very helpful.
Very logical question. The words shouldn't be able to just mutate and change depending on the day. If that's the case, then you just need to come up with a different word that is similar. So, for example, if you say it's a hatred of an entire nation, then come up with a different word for that, as opposed to specifically saying that no. Because really all of it is the same thing. But you're using this word to guilt trip people so that you can be above reproach, above criticism. That's really what this is. It's the oldest trick in the book.
The current definition of anti-Semitism today has to do with what the feelings are. It has to do with anti-Zionism, number one. That is a definition. Anti-Zionism, anti-Israel is anti-Semitism.
Zionism is not necessarily Israel, though, bro. Anyone can be a Zionist, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of what country they live in. Conflating the two is, once again, one of the oldest tricks that they use.
Okay. So you believe that Jewish people can be anti-Semitic?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when you see a gathering of Jewish people who say, you know, I'm Jewish, but I don't support Israel or Bibi Netanyahu, you say that person can be anti-Semitic.
You just did two different things and was very, you just did two different things that were totally unrelated, Candace.
Okay.
You said that Jews that do not support Israel.
Yes.
And you said Jews that do not support Bibi Netanyahu.
I'm just saying that because he's the current prime minister. So I'm saying, like, if they say I don't support.
No, this is where you're missing the point. So
Okay.
I'm going to go under the following premise. Okay. I'm going to go under the premise that you care about people. You and I don't know each other, but I'm going to go under that premise. I'm going to go under the premise that you have no desire to ever hurt anyone. Okay. That's the premise I'm coming into this dialogue with. You have been devastatingly hurtful. And I think that I'm going to go from that you don't understand what it means to the Jewish world. There's a great teaching that comes out of every sociologist, every person in academics, is that I don't get to tell a black man if he's experiencing racism. He knows. I don't get to tell you if you're experiencing misogyny. You know.
Nah, bro. Don't use that as an excuse. That's complete BS. So, for example, if a white man walks up to me and I'm super rude to the person in the McDonald's line because they're taking too long with my food, or my fries were cold, and a white man walks up to me and says, "Hey man, calm down, you're being rude." And I say, "Hey, you're racist. You're only saying that to me because I'm a black man." Is it wrong for that white man to say, "No, I'm not being racist to you"? Is it wrong for another white man or white woman that's a bystander watching this take place? Is it wrong for them, and would they be out of order to then tell me, "I don't think that white man is being racist to you"? Of course they wouldn't be out of order. That's not racism. He's not being racist to me. I'm being rude and I'm yelling and I'm, causing up a stir over cold fries. He's trying to de-escalate the situation, and I'm a victim. So I say, you're only saying that to me because I'm racist. According to Rabbi Barkley, no person who's not the same ethnicity or race as you, they can't tell you if you're currently experiencing racism. That's not necessarily true. That doesn't work that way, bro.
If I make a comment and it's misogynistic, and you say, "Rabbi, that was really misogynistic," my job is to say, "Wow, I didn't mean that. I apologize. That's not what I meant." And you do not get the right to say what is anti-Semitic or Jew hatred.
I'm not trying to. I don't think I said anything about me having the right. I just said to you, would you then view, because I did host somebody who was Jewish, Dave Smith, on my show. Right. I'm sure you're familiar with him. He's a comedian. He's a libertarian. He is not pro-Zionist. So I'm just asking you for clarity, because you're saying that you can't dismiss a Jewish person, but aren't you thereby dismissing Jewish people who say that I don't support Israel as a state? I'm just trying to have you answer that question.
And the answer is, I will ask you back the same question. Are there blacks who do not support blacks? Are there pick the cause or the minority who do not support or not, or actually are even better? You and I both sit on the conservative side politically. We share that, right? And we face the same way when it comes to that. And we both, I think, are disappointed in those who are Republicans in name only, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does that mean they're not Republicans?
Well, I wouldn't describe a race as a political ideology, like a political party. That's very different. So to say that you can't be a race, like you're not black if you don't support this, is different than, like, you're basically saying that a Jewish person can't be anti-Semitic. So that would be like saying a black person can in fact be racist towards, or they're not black.
Look, I'm not going to comment on black community. I will say there are plenty of self-hating Jews.
Okay, so you do believe, that's all I was trying to get you to say, is that Jewish people who don't support Israel, you are saying they are anti-Semitic. I just want to understand that. I'm
saying it very clearly, they are self-hating Jews. Let's use that term very specifically. Okay. And you need to understand why they are self-hating Jews. And you need to understand as numerous people have talked about, I've written about, Prager's talked about, Gorka's talked about, Levin's talked about,
All
a number
Zionists.
of people have talked about,
All Zionists.
Shapiro's talked about,
All
as
Zionists.
I've written about, is that a people want to assimilate. For 2,000 years, Jews have been persecuted, and so they want to assimilate, and so many have converted from Judaism not to another religion, but to leftist politics. That becomes their religion, and they lose their identity. That is a reality. So you need to understand, or I shouldn't say you need to, that's not fair, and I apologize. I would hope that you understand a history and an understanding that we define what anti-Semitism is.
What?
And what happened on October 7th, and I wrote an article about you in November. I don't know if you read it or not. I was told that you had, but I don't know if you did or not.
I did not.
Okay. I wish you had, and I really wish you had, because we might be in a very different place. You went on Tucker Carlson after, this is in November, and
okay, go ahead. I'm going to say I want to talk about that because you put that in this article, which was published just last week.
So I wrote a very specific article, and you can find it right now. And it was an impersonal invitation to you and for you, that despite everything else I had read or seen or heard, that my belief and my hope is that your comment of wanting to have an academics discussion about October 7th came from a place of not really realizing what October 7th was. October 7th is unique in recorded human history as the ugliest day of humanity.
What? Bro, imagine that. Yo. What happened on October 7th was tragic. It was an absolute tragedy. But I want you to imagine the level of arrogance and self-righteousness and self-centered imagine how self-centered you have to be to believe that something that happened to your people is the most atrocious thing that ever happened in human history. All the atrocities that's happened in the last 50 years alone. Not to mention September the 11th. October 7th is the worst. What is it with these people? This is what I'm saying.
What was done on October 7th? Taking a young woman, taking her phone to videotape her being raped on the corpse of her dead boyfriend, and then shot on it and sending that video to her parents. Beheading a man with a garden hoe, kicking a woman until her body parts fall off, is unique in terms of the intention to attack civilians. And so in November, after you made the comment on Tucker Carlson about wanting an academic discussion about how, those kind of comments that you made and the ennui that you demonstrate, I wrote an article saying that I would arrange for you, there's a film, a 47-minute film by the IDF. It is all the footage done by the Hamas terrorists of what they were doing so proudly, what they wanted to do. And that my belief was, I don't think that you quite realize that. And I would arrange for private screening for you and your friends. Mm-hmm. And that I would arrange that and then have the discussion about how you feel about October 7th.
Okay, so I just really would like to get to your article because I think it's important. I want to acknowledge your pain about October 7th.
He keeps rambling.
Wait, that's not an opinion. That's not an opinion.
No, I didn't say opinion. I said I want to acknowledge your pain about
I apologize.
October 7th.
I apologize. I think it's
Yeah.
opinion. I apologize.
I didn't say that. I said I want to acknowledge your pain about October 7th, and I want to get to that because you are you're mischaracterizing what I said on Tucker Carlson, but I do have the clip, and we're going to be able to watch it. I definitely did not say I wanted to have an academic debate about October 7th. That's not what I said at all. But like I said, I have the clip. And I do also want, I think it's best for us to dive into what you actually wrote about me, because there are several mischaracterizations, I believe, of what I said, but both of us are going to be able to watch it. So again, this is the article. And by the way, you did say in this article that you heard that I received your invitation. That is false.
I did.
So I think it's important to just maybe name the people who told you that I received your invitation.
No, I'd rather not do that, especially since you're saying that it's incorrect, and in which case I apologize.
No, you can apologize. I just think that like a lot of the reason that things happen is because there is this sort of back channeling and discussion, and nobody told me that I got an invitation, and now you've written that I refused an invitation, and so that adds to people believing.
So Candace, I'm going to ask you a question right now.
Oh my gosh.
I'm inviting you. Forget about the article, because I have no issue and would love to write an article saying I was wrong. Candace Owens does not feel that way. I would love that. So I'm inviting you right now. I will set up a screening for you. Will you come?
This dude, his energy is so weird. He's the ultimate victim. He has this aggressive energy, right? He has this quasi what is it called? Condescending energy about him. And he's constantly being caught in lies and smears that he's put out, and he's evading. He's doing a lot of ducking and evading already, and they haven't even gotten to the thickest and most heated part of the interview yet. She's trying to get to this article where he just wrote literal lies about the woman, literal lies about people in America, about Americans, about us. And she's trying to get to the article. He's trying to deflect from that.
If you set up a screening for me after we go through this, I want to also be able to estimate your character by going through some of the things that you wrote. You did write some things that I believe.
Wait. I'm asking you a yes or no question.
No. And I just said to you, I'm going to give you an answer to that, but I want to first go through your article because I want to be able to estimate.
Wait. I'm asking you a question. I will take the entire article.
I'm not saying I'm not going to answer your question. I am just saying that I would like to go through this, see how you feel.
You said you haven't had an invitation. I'm asking you. I don't have to be there. I'll set it up for you.
Okay, sure. If you want to set it up for me to have a screening of that here without you there, that's fine. What I'm saying is that I would not, based on what you wrote about me, I wouldn't take an invitation from you anywhere. I think that's fair given what's in this article. I think that's a normal human response, that if somebody has written something that is utterly libelous about you, it mischaracterizes what you said. But if you want to set it up separately and you want to send it to the Daily Wire and you want us to have a private screening, I absolutely will watch the events of October 7th.
You know what? God bless you. And had I ever heard you say that, I wouldn't have written an article.
Oh my God.
Well, I think you still would have, because you made a lot of points in here.
No, I wouldn't have. No, I wouldn't have, because I believe in the idea that it's about what we act and learn. And we have a concept called Shula in Judaism. No, actually, honestly, had you said there, at any point, what you just now said to me, that you would watch a screening, I don't need to be there, that you would watch a screening. If I set it up, I would not have written that article.
Oh my God.
Okay. Well, I do still want to go through these points, though, because you.
Okay, but do you hear that, please?
Yes, I hear that, and thank you for saying that. Great. But a lot of what you wrote in this article is a lot of what I'm assuming you have a friendly relationship with Rabbi Shmuley has been saying about me. So it's really important to go through these points, because when you write something like is a Jew-hating bigot, that's very strong language, and we need to go through these points. So
we'll go through all of them, sure.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's just begin here. So you basically make the argument that I'm drunk on fame, and that is the reason why I have let out the truth about who I am, which makes me a Jew hater. First thing you say is that this is a woman who is such an anti-Semite and so ignorant of history that in 2018, she publicly said that Hitler was okay.
Which she's about to say this. The woman literally never said that. But I want you to imagine something. Y'all haven't even heard the rest of the ridiculous things that he wrote in this article. I want you to imagine someone writing things like this about you, even as a follower of Christ. Someone putting out an article that thousands upon thousands of people saw, where they're saying the most ridiculous, hateful, disgusting things about you that are all lies, and then they come onto your podcast and demand that you go to a screening to watch something that is probably fabricated as well about the history of something that happened to a group of people at a certain period of time. Imagine how crazy that is. Who are you and why do you think you have the power and you are in a position to demand that I do anything? Let's get to this work that you wrote about me so that I could embarrass you and humiliate you in front of everybody since you slipped up and came on my podcast.
Do you actually believe that I publicly said that Hitler was okay?
So from the recording that I heard, including the congressional testimony, which I think was taken out of context, and from the comments that you said, okay, and you correct if I'm wrong, but my understanding from your comments is you were asked a question about nationalism. And you responded about nationalism using the example that nationalism was good and that what Hitler did, Hitler was nationalistic in Germany, and that was okay. You have said specifically you think Hitler is a horrible, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you have condemned Hitler, thank God, without question. And you also brought him up in that discussion about nationalism. Is that all accurate?
So when you just write, she publicly said Hitler was okay, that is dishonest, because what I actually was saying was answering a question, as you brought up, where we were not even talking about Jews, not talking about the Holocaust. A woman was asking about whether or not it's okay for people today to say that they're nationalist when it's often associated as a dirty word. And what I was saying was that it's wrongly associated with Hitler. I don't believe that Hitler was a nationalist because obviously Hitler invaded Poland. He obviously had ambitions outside of... So we have the clip. We have the clip. So we're going to play it. So again, the question that's being asked of me is whether or not nationalism is an okay word to embrace. Let's play the clip so we can hear me and what I actually said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism.
So again, we're trying there to define nationalism. Does your statement, she publicly said that Hitler was okay, is that an honest statement?
Yeah, so let's talk about this for a moment. Is that okay?
Yeah.
What you mean? Is that okay? You're literally currently talking about it, dude. See, that's what I'm saying. When you start off with side statements like that, he's deflecting. That's called deflect. Look at his face. He's just a professional victim. Can we talk about this for a second? That's literally what you're talking about already. That's literally what she just asked you. She just played the clip. She clearly didn't say what you said. You lied. You know that you lied. Now in front of everybody, you've been asked. Your quote was just repeated. It's not even remotely close to what happened. Now when you're asked directly, is your statement consistent with what I actually said? Instead of just saying simply yes or no, which we all know the answer is no, I lied. He says, can we talk about this for a second?
You were asked a question about nationalism. You responded with an example of Adolf Hitler.
Yes.
We know all of this
because Americans
already,
associate, the reason why they think it's a dirty word is because of Adolf Hitler.
You respond, and you have subsequently, and I've seen you subsequently, and I think you even said it at the congressional hearing, you have obviously condemned him for who he was. But you brought Hitler's name into a discussion.
Correct.
Okay. And you justified that this is how America.
Y'all can't, man. Listen, I've met people like this before. They're horrible debaters, and they're professional gaslighters. It's the people when you're talking to them and they do the every time you mention or mutter a word and they're speaking, they go, like, what are you doing that for? You can continue to speak. I'm chiming in as we go together. That's how conversations work. Why are you trying to stop me from saying even a word while you're speaking? I'm not yelling. I'm not trying to interrupt you so that I can go on a rant. I'm simply just chiming in as you speak. It's weird.
America feels or how people feel. And that's your take on it. It's not necessarily accurate. And in fact, it probably isn't from an actual sociological standpoint. But that's your opinion. Fine. But Candace, you put in the same sentence what he did if it just had stayed in Germany was okay. But more importantly, and here's a piece of the anti-Semitism. Why bring one of the most evil men of history into the discussion?
Gaslighting. First and foremost, buddy, stop deflecting. That's not what you said in your article. You didn't simply say Candace Owens randomly decided to bring up one of the most evil people in the history of the world. I'm not happy with that. She could have used a better example. Fine. That's not what you said, dude. You said, she said that Hitler was okay. You liar.
You could just as easily have given any negative examples of nationalism. You chose to bring Hitler on, not them.
I did, and I have no. If I could go backwards in the context of trying to understand why Americans think that nationalism is a bad word, it was appropriate for me to bring off Adolf Hitler. It is totally appropriate in any capacity when you are talking about history and historical sentiments to bring up any relevant character that has created those sentiments. So I just want to yes or no. After watching that, I want to make sure we don't run out of time here. After watching that in context, do you think it is fair that you wrote, she publicly said that Hitler was okay? Hitler was okay.
Yeah. Yes, by bringing me even into the conversation, yes, I do.
Okay, great. Let's move on here, because again, this discussion we're having.
Absolutely embarrassing. That is absolutely embarrassing, man. No shame. He has absolutely no shame sitting there lying like that.
Between us, but I want the public to be able to, deduce what's fair and what's not fair. You then wrote this statement. A mere month after the horrors of babies being beheaded, women being raped, and the slews of horrors from Hamas, Owens went on Tucker Carlson's show to speak about how it really wasn't that bad and why should she even care? After all, she seems to think that Hitler was okay, so what's the problem? Is that true that I went on Tucker Carlson's show and said that October 7th really wasn't that bad?
Yeah, actually you did. And you did it through the implications and the words. And I actually do know where some of those clips are because I've rewatched it multiple times. Mm-hmm. And you specifically say you want to have an academic discussion. You specifically say, I don't want to misquote you, that you believe you have a moderate stance. Okay. Because you see the children dying and on both sides, and you talk about the pain, and I think you do feel pain about Gaza. And this goes back to the anti-Semitism, Candace.
What?
What happened October 7th is unique.
This guy is so self-deprecating. Why is he constantly saying Candace's name at the end every time? Are y'all catching that? No, I'm just saying, Candace. You're not listening, Candace. No, this is what you need to understand, Candace. When a person is constantly saying your name at the end, it's either because they're really happy with you or because they're really not happy with you. It's very condescending. It's like he views himself as above her, much more intellectual than she is, far superior than she is. So he has to speak down. He has to talk down to her. When it's actually the opposite, and she's far more intellectual than him, from what it appears.
It is to even make a moral equivalency. This is one of the keys in anti-Semitism and in any prejudice and bigotry, is that an inappropriate moral equivalency is created. When someone says that this race, these people, whomever, are like dogs, they've made a moral equivalency between those people and dogs, that is bigotry. That is hatred. Would you
so
agree with that?
I first want to
Would you
debunk
agree
the
with that?
idea that I first want to debunk the idea that I did not, like I in any way said it really wasn't that bad. That statement never came out of my mouth. And I also want to show that actually, contrary to that, I condemned
interrupting
what Hamas did. So let's just show that clip of what I said. And then I want to get to your quotation.
This dude, something is mentally wrong with this dude, bro. He freaks out if a single word is mentioned while he's speaking, but nonstop he's interjecting so that she can't get to her point. Embarrassing.
Academic discussion. Let's just show what I said about Hamas. I have seen every single person, including myself, condemn what happened on October 7th. Because who wouldn't condemn terrorism? It's obvious. Who would not condemn innocent Israelis dying? But if you then say that it is also sad when an innocent Palestinian child dies, suddenly this is pro-Hamas, or you need to say, even when you're talking about how sad it is that a child dies, you need to button that statement by saying, but that child was a human shield. That's not going to be my response. First off, as a mother, that's not going to be my response as somebody who is about to give birth. When I see these images of children involved on both sides of the conflict, I've pointed to the people that are mocking dead Israeli children and said that they are horrific. I am even keel on this matter, and yet people think that you need to be extreme. So people that have become more radical and extreme are perceiving a moderate stance as not enough. And
because I was about to say, people can disagree with you or agree with you or whatever, but you certainly don't seem radical on this topic.
Right.
And I'm going to hold here before you comment on that, because your next sentence, as you just said, she wanted to talk about the depravities of Hamas as an academic discussion and refused to even condemn Hamas. So we just saw that I did condemn Hamas. And regarding the academic discussion...
No, you didn't. I'm sorry. No, you made a moral equivalency between Hamas and Gaza.
I didn't do that.
There is no moral equivalency. What Hamas did is evil. It is not a tragedy only, it is evil. I'm sorry, Candace, but you make an equivalency that does not exist in most people's minds, and certainly in no Jews' minds.
Okay, so I'm glad that you said that, so people can hear what I actually said and hear what you are saying and how you are taking it. I don't know how you could write this statement, she refused to condemn Hamas, when I literally said who would not condemn these horrific events.
You don't condemn them uniquely evil. You put them in pari passu relationship.
So you're saying that even though I did, so now you're admitting that I did condemn Hamas, even though you wrote she refused to condemn Hamas.
What condemnation is? Is this where you really want to go? Is have an English discussion?
No. You wrote she refused to condemn Hamas. These are your words.
Because when you put that, at the moment you say that they have a moral equivalency with anything else, that's not condemnation, no matter what.
I didn't. I said it's sad when an innocent.
It's not condemnation, and
is
it's
it,
not.
I'll just ask you a question. Is it sad?
Is
it
not
sad?
Extreme.
Sure.
Sit there and do that.
I don't want to cut each other off, okay? Because clearly what we are having here is just a disagreement. There's no reason to get angry. Do you think it is sad when an innocent Palestinian child dies?
Before we even continue, I want to see what you all think. What do you all think he's about to say? That's a simple question. That's an easy question. I hadn't watched this interview in like 2 years, a year and a half. So I don't even remember what he's going to say here. What do you all think he's about to say to this question? Do you find it sad or wrong that a Palestinian kid is unalived? We know what our answer would be. Any other regular human being would be. What do y'all think he's about to do? Okay, let me put the chat up on the screen. He will say, okay, I see he would divert. He will say no. Mickey says there's no innocent, which is something that they've been saying for a while. Okay. He is going to give a long-winded. That's a very good answer. He's going to give a long-winded answer. Y'all are so smart. I think that's right. I think it deflect. No, deny, deflect. It's justified. I don't know. He will divert. Rabbi Parky Clay Gymnastic. Hey, Rabbi. Hey, that's a good one. That's a good one. That is a good one, man. He'll react with a tantrum. Okay, let's see. All right. Drum roll. Let's see what he says.
Candace, I cry every day.
Hold on. We're going to take it back.
Really said who would not condemn these horrific
Because
events.
you don't condemn them uniquely evil. You put them in pari passu
So
relationship.
you're saying that even though I did, so now you're admitting that I did condemn Hamas, even though you wrote she refused to condemn Hamas.
What condemnation is? Is this where you really want to go? Is have an English discussion?
No. You wrote she refused to condemn Hamas. These are your words.
Because when you put that, at the moment you say that they have a moral equivalency with anything else, that's not condemnation. No matter.
I didn't. I said it's sad when an innocent.
It's not condemnation, and
is
it's
it,
not.
I'll just ask you a question. Is it sad?
Candace,
is it sad?
Extreme.
Sure.
Sit there and do that.
I don't want to cut each other off, okay? Because clearly what we are having here is just a disagreement. There's no reason to get angry. Do you think? Do you think it is sad when an innocent Palestinian child dies?
Candace, I cry every day.
What do you cry for?
And it's not just for Israel.
Okay, who else?
And this is one of the things you clearly do not understand.
So hold on, whoa. Before we even go any further with him, notice and peep that he lied once again about what Candace Owens said during the Tucker Carlson interview. And again, this is bigger than Candace Owens, people. It's just, unfortunately, Candace Owens is just at the forefront. We got to use her as an example because this is happening in other facets of the world, man, and society, especially in this country. As our president is gaslighting us about why trillions of our tax-paying dollars are going elsewhere instead of fixing the roads and bridges and communities in this country. But I digress. Notice that he just lied about what she said during Tucker Carlson's interview, said that she did not condemn Hamas when she clearly did. His justification for that was that, okay, you said what you said about Hamas, but you didn't really condemn them the way I think you should because you didn't go all the way with it. Because the only time you ever mention them is when you're pairing it with something else. What did he just do? She said, is it sad when a Palestinian kid passes away? His response was, I cry every day and not just for Israeli children. Brother, that's a non-answer answer. Don't group it with anything else. That's not what we asked you about. Hypocrite.
The same way most don't, who are anti-Semites, who don't get it. I cry for what's going on in Israel.
What?
I cry just as much for what we are forced to do.
Oh.
Golda Meir had a great quote. She said that one day we may be able to forgive them for killing Israeli children. We will never be able to forgive them for making us kill their children.
Yep, there it is. Who's the person that guessed this? Who's the person that guessed that? Who's the person that guessed that? That's exactly what he's doing. They're making us do it. Forced to do?
So what about my statement of saying that I also cry for Palestinian children is wrong to you if you also admit it is sad when Palestinian children die?
It's painful, but it is not in any way, shape, or form morally equivalent to October 7th. That is the anti-Semitic bigotry.
But I didn't say that. I just want to be clear. People are watching. It's just not what came out of my mouth. But I'm not gonna. I don't want to get hung up. I don't want to get hung up on that. I want to now point to. You said I wanted to talk about the depravities. I'm going to quote it. She wanted to talk about the depravities of Hamas as an academic discussion. Actually, I was talking about NATO, and here is the clip of what I said when I used the words academic discussion. Take a listen. I mean, you can go back to me even talking about NATO expansion before things erupted between Russia and Ukraine,
yes,
and having a meaningful discussion about how much expansion is too much expansion. How would we feel if we had troops on our border? These are things that should be allowed in an academic discussion. You should be able to sit on stage and should be able to debate these ideas without using ad hominem attacks.
You're using it in the reference, Candace, in the dialogue about October 7th. You're using your discussions of NATO as an analogy, in an analogous way, about how we should be able to discuss October 7th.
From a foreign
There is no analogy.
Okay, so you think that it is fair after listening to that, me talking about NATO and me talking about Russia and Ukraine and saying that we should always be able to have an academic discussion about foreign policy, you think your statement still is fair, saying that she wanted to talk about the depravities of Hamas as an academic discussion?
Because you're using that context, and you're the one taking your own quotes out of context.
I played it. I didn't take it out of context. I just played it.
Then play the whole paragraph we were talking before. That's the entire issue.
I did. So the first part was what I just showed you. That was actually a split clip. The first part, the first half of that was when the one that we just showed you, when you said that I said it really wasn't that bad and why should she even care? The first part I say I condemn Hamas. And then I said that I've been consistent in always saying that we should have a topic. We should be able to discuss foreign policy removed from ad hominem attacks because that is the truth and that's how I feel. But to be clear,
Candace?
I just broke out academic discussion because I was referring.
Candace?
This man is saying her name nonstop. It's just so, he's insufferable. Nonstop. Candace, Candace. It's like how a parent speaks to a child. Who are you, bro? Who are you? It's like he has a God complex. You don't run anything, dude.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you really simple questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No. I want to keep going through this. I think it's important here.
It's about this. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. Do you ever mean to hurt people because of their race, religion, or color? Ever?
Do I ever mean to hurt people? Say that
because of their race, religion, or color? Ever?
I can't hear the last part of it. I don't know why I'm not hearing.
I'm sorry. We'll apologize. We know about the technology. Do you ever intend to hurt or want to hurt anyone based on their race, religion, theology, color, etc.?
No, never, not once.
All right. What you need to hear,
oh boy,
is your statement. I'm not alone in this, because it is the whole context of October 7th. It's hurtful to Jews.
Okay.
And I'd like to give you an analogy that I think that might really help our dialogue, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
A number of years ago, a movie came out called The Passion of the Christ. Did you see the movie?
Yes, it's a wonderful movie.
Okay.
I agree.
And I saw the movie as well. I saw it the opening day and saw it twice, and I arranged for a screening of priest students, minister students, rabbinic students, rabbis, ministers, and priests. Loyola Marymount when I was a professor. Okay.
Let me just use this time to say, as I said, truth is a person. Link is in the description to the merch store. Truth is God. Truth is Jesus Christ. If you have not seen the film Passion of Christ, I would highly recommend checking it out. I'm pretty sure Mel Gibson put that film together, which was a shocker for a lot of people because he's a part of Hollywood. The only thing I don't like about the film, but I guess that's kind of hard to, you're going to have to put Jesus in some sort of image, right? To make a film about a clue exactly the identical way in which Jesus Christ looked. And the scriptures are clear that we're not supposed to make any image of Jesus Christ. However, as we know in America, they've led us to believe that Jesus Christ was this white man with blue eyes and blonde hair and a beard and slim, and he was this height. And when we know that it's all propaganda, we have no idea what Jesus Christ looked like. Anyways, I digress. Incredible film nonetheless. I love the film. The first time I watched it, I cried. The second time I watched it, I cried.
I realized something in watching that movie. There are two movies going on.
Oh.
If you accept Jesus as your Savior, then that movie is so brilliant and so painful about his suffering.
Okay.
That it transcends everything else, and that's all you see. And I think you just said it was a brilliant movie, and as many of my friends did, Loyola, etc. I think it was a brilliant movie too as well. If you don't accept Jesus as your Savior, you're not so emotionally attached to all the suffering that Gibson portrays so well.
What? Where are you going with this, dude? What are you talking about? First and foremost, what does this have to do with the conversation? Second of all, if you don't accept Jesus as your savior, you don't care for the suffering. Is that what you just said? Maybe I misheard him. Why do you care if he's your savior not to care about the suffering of him? Do you have any I'm not understanding right now, bro. Is this person human?
What you do notice, as an example, are all the anti-Semitic things. So I had a discussion with a woman who's the senior vice president of Loyola when the movie came out. She said, Rabbi, there's no anti-Semitism. I said, actually, I'll give you an example of one scene. There's a scene of little Jewish kids who chase Judas, and they morph into demons. And they're wearing modern 20th century yarmulkes, and they have classic Jewish stereotypical faces, and they morph into demons. And with modern yarmulkes, it's that trope of Jews as demons. And Lainey said to me, I don't remember that scene. And I realized in that moment, she was so emotionally involved in the suffering of Jesus, she didn't notice the anti-Semitism.
Well, forgive us for caring about the single greatest story in the history of this earth, the history of mankind. Forgive us for being so infatuated with the storyline of what's happening to God in flesh. Forgive us that we're so distracted paying attention to God that we're not noticing other things like your feelings, like your emotions. Forgive us, man. You're gonna have to forgive us, and you're gonna have to continue to forgive us because that's never gonna change. Did you hear me? Do I need to say it again for the people in the back? The blasphemy of this dude.
But both are true in the movie. You may not have the desire to have that pain in your heart, but what I'm trying to tell you is, by having a conversation with Tucker Carlson under the umbrella of October 7, which is what that segment was about, and saying that you have a moderate stance, that there should be able to be discussion, just like there is about NATO, it validates the reality of the absolute evil that is unique to October 7. Had you asked me on October 6th what to do with Hamas, despite that in their covenant of 1988, their charter, which I don't know if you've read, despite the fact that in Article 7, 11, and 13, they call for the destruction of all Jews. If you'd asked me on October 6th, I would say we should do whatever we should do for peace.
Now, I do want to move on, though, because then the next sentence almost appears to me to be the inversion of what actually happened. You write, she castigated Ben Shapiro for being passionately pro-Israel. I couldn't find a clip on that, so I just wanted to ask you what you were referring to, because actually what happened was Ben insulted me publicly. I have not insulted Ben publicly, so I'm just wondering where that sentence, where we can look for me castigating Ben Shapiro for being pro-Israel.
I will try and find the actual clips, number one. Number two,
just off the top of your head, where I was when I castigated him, where I was when I disrespected him.
Candace, I will be happy to go try and find you things.
And this is part of the reason I titled this video what I did. I do believe that this video is at the top of the list as the single most interview that played a role in her being fired. Because Ben was already not happy with Candace Owens after October 7th. He didn't like that she was questioning certain things. He didn't like that she was having certain conversations openly with people like Dave Smith. How dare she? She needs to stick to criticizing Black people. This is especially important after what we've seen Ben Shapiro do in the last, 2-3 months. He was not happy with Candace Owens. And in this interview, I think this is the single most embarrassing interview that she's had with the rabbi, even including the interviews with and the debates with Rabbi Shmuley, who is an absolute disgusting person, who owns a PON or SEX store with his own daughter, which is absolutely, I can't even begin to understand that, bro. But the fact that Ben Shapiro was mentioned in this, and Candace Owens would never say anything bad about Ben. She would never address it directly. When asked about it, she'd be like, I have nothing to say. He's been openly talking about me, saying that what I've been saying is irreprehensible or reprehensible, all of that. And then this rabbi mentioned Ben Shapiro in this interview, and he did that on purpose. Or rather, he mentioned her in this article and Candace was able to address him about it for lying. And watch what's about to happen here.
But I'm sure Ben can find him as well. I'm sure other people can. I want to make something real clear about this, though. I don't think that there is a place for any of the kind of dialogue, especially between people who are the same conservatives, who are on the same side. I don't think there's a place to personally insult anyone. And that comes from both sides. I don't think it's okay for anyone to insult you or your family. I don't think it's okay for you to insult anyone or their families. I call you an anti-Semite because that is how I judge the way you act and what you said.
Okay.
I'm very pleased that you've agreed to watch the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me very happy, and you can comment on it after you've watched it. Makes me really happy, honestly.
Okay.
And I think that and hope that after you see that, you'll have a whole different understanding. But I don't think it's okay for anyone to make personal attacks. Now, when Ben Shapiro calls you an anti-Semite, I call you an anti-Semite. I only wish goodness on your soul, but that is how you act.
Okay.
That's very different than calling you a fill-in-the-blank pejorative.
Okay. But you did write she castigated Ben Shapiro for being pro-Israel. So I'm just asking you.
Happy to find the exact quotes for you. Happy to find them.
Because it just never happened. I would never.
That's why it literally never happened. He's literally lying. He's just making things up, which is what they all do.
Okay, you're saying that. I'm happy to find.
Okay, but he did insult me, but I did not insult Ben. So that was very interesting because I was like, that's almost an inversion of what happened here.
Well, okay, Candace, he says something differently, I think, but I will find and give. I'm happy to let Skylar know a place in and only in that specific interview, by the way.
In that interview.
We're talking about that interview.
That's why I was asking you what interview. Me and Tucker talking about Ben. You're saying that I castigated him for being pro-Israel.
Okay, Candace, I'm happy. I'll say it again. I'm happy to find those spaces where you castigated him and send them to Skylar, and you can decide to share them with your audience.
I will.
Or not.
We'll put it in right in here. If there's a example of a clip of me doing that, because actually I abstained from doing that and told Tucker that it's not something that I would do. Okay, then you go on to talk about me attacking Rabbi Shmuley. My audience has already seen him attacking me over the last 2 years. And I'm just going to ask you a basic question. Does a Black person or any person have a right to defend themselves?
Absolutely.
Okay, because that is interesting, because Rabbi Shmuley and his daughter have attacked me and made videos of me for 2 years straight. I have responded once, and you're basically saying that I'm anti-Semitic for responding. So I want your perception of when it is that a Black person's allowed to respond.
So, Candace, first of all, I know Shmuley peripherally. We've probably met a half a dozen times. Okay? He is an incredibly knowledgeable man. He formed L'Chaim Society at Oxford. Incredibly knowledgeable man. And with 9 kids, right? And
what does that have to do with, he's a very disgusting man. What does the amount of kids have to do with the conversation? What is this guy talking about? When you were speaking about the German man with the mustache, you were upset that she mentioned him in any context. But when speaking about somebody is discussing as Shmuley, you don't mention the things about him that are absolutely horrible. You decide to compliment him. Okay.
There's something in Judaism, predates Christianity, but it's also Christianity as well to an extent, called Lashon Hara, the evil tongue. That to gossip, to say certain things like that is really a huge avera. It's a huge sin. It's a huge thing. I don't know all the things that he has said about you. I do know he's called you an anti-Semite, and so have I. That's not a personal attack on you and your family. For you to call a man who is extremely knowledgeable an unholy rabbi and his hag daughter, forgetting about what he may or may not have done. If he's attacked you personally, if he's said whatever horrific things about you personally, that you are a blankety, 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 blank, he's wrong. If he's attacked you or your children or your family, your mother, for you to, rather than comment on whatever he's done, to call him an unholy rabbi, that is way out of line. You don't even know what a rabbi's supposed to do.
There are so many things there. First and foremost, you don't have to be a rabbi to know what rabbis are responsible for doing. So that's a lie. We do know what the role of a rabbi is. We don't have to be a part of the religion to read and ask people who are a part of the religion what the role of a rabbi is. Second of all, who are you to tell somebody what they are in a position to talk about and not talk about? Third of all, she has addressed the very things that this dude has done, like owning a coin shop with his own daughter, a PORN, a SEX shop with his own daughter, which is absolutely filthy. And obviously, if a pastor was doing that, you would call that person a fake pastor. So based on his actions, dude, based on his behavior, that's why we've said it. That's why that's her position. He's pretending that she just said it just to say it. Who are these people? Where do they come from?
So let me ask you a
There's
question.
no truth, by the way,
Do
Joe.
you view
Let's be
that
very clear.
as anti-Semitic for me to
Yes.
respond? So it's okay. So he can attack me for 2 years. Is he a racist? Just to be clear.
I don't know how he attacks you, so I can't comment.
So what if I say that the definition of racism changes, and if you attack a black person,
Checkmate.
you're a
It
racist?
depends. Candace, you don't get to get away with that. It depends
No,
how
I'm
it
asking
changes.
because at the beginning of this discussion, you
How
did
did he
say
attack
that
you?
you can't
How
tell a
did he
black person.
attack you?
It's been 2 years consistently of him and his
Okay,
daughter attacking me, saying that.
Candace, I wasn't there. I'm asking you. I'm asking all.
Okay,
Shut
but
up.
if you're saying that you weren't there, why would you?
It's so not nice to say shut up. Be quiet so she can tell you, dude. You're trying to dominate the conversation as if we don't see what you're doing. We literally see what you're doing, bro.
Purpose into writing.
Wait.
Isn't it
Wait,
incumbent upon
tell
you to
me.
research what's happened before you start saying to
No,
me that
because-
defending myself is anti-Semitic?
Candace, if he attacked you personally, if he said you were a black fill in the blank, then he should be reprimanded that. But it doesn't justify what you did.
That's the only
You
thing
don't know what a rabbi does. You don't know our theology. How dare you call him an unholy rabbi? How dare you go into the misogynistic, the anti-Semitic trope of his hag daughter, something used throughout the late 18th and early through the early 20th century.
Sorry. Hag is now anti-Semitic?
So that is a term of his hag daughter that goes back into the witches of Eastern Europe.
It goes back to the witches of the wicked witch of the West. Man, stop it, bro. Professional victim. I'm gonna play like another 5 minutes of the interview, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get to you all's comments so that we can do some Q&A.
Why did you have to call her a hag daughter?
Just
Tell
to
me
be
that.
clear, because she's a witch. I think she's a witch. That's not because she's
All right,
Jewish.
let's stop right there.
I would call
Wait,
someone
I
a
wanna
hag
try
of
and
any
get-
color. I think she's a witch. What
Wait,
they have
wait,
done over the
okay.
last 2 years. I believe his daughter is a hag. I said that because that's what I believe. You may disagree
Okay,
with me
hold
on
on a
that,
second.
but to say
I'm
that that's
accepting that.
anti-Semitic is ridiculous. I would call any person a hag.
Candace,
Candace.
I'm going to be very clear without trying to be insulting. So please forgive me if it comes off wrong. Okay, it's not meant
No,
to.
it's fine. You can insult me.
I don't want to.
I've dealt with 2 years of a rabbi insulting me, so I'm totally cool with
Candace,
this. Yeah.
I have
Candace.
no desire to insult anyone. Okay.
Candace, stop making all this sense. Candace, stop humiliating me. Stop making great point after great point after great point. Please let me filibuster. Please let me continue to interrupt you. Please let me try to gaslight you. Please allow me to deflect. Please stop reading all the lies that I wrote in the article about you and proving that I lied by playing clips of what you actually said. Candace, stop. Because the people at home can't think for themselves. They won't be able to see what you're doing. Stop. What?
But do you understand? Are you familiar with the history of the Grimm fairy tales and the folk tales of Eastern Europe?
No, and I don't care.
I know that we can go back and we can also say
No. I'm asking a specific question.
Okay.
That the witch archetype of those fairy tales were specifically modeled and called the Jews, that the Jews of that part of the world were called hags and witches specifically because they didn't eat the same food, they had different practices, and they were excluded that way as part of the bloodline.
So you are saying that we can
By calling a rabbi's daughter her a witch, a hag daughter. You have tapped into an anti-Semitic trope that goes back hundreds of years, whether you mean to or not.
Okay.
Now that I've told you that,
Yeah.
okay, do you think maybe there are better words to call her than a hag daughter?
I'm actually not going to edit my language for two people that have been attacking me for 2 years. And so what I'm going to say is that, and I want to be very strong on this, I am not going to be told whether you want to dress it up as anti-Semitism, you want to dress it up as that I cannot respond and defend myself. I'm certainly not going to be told that I need to be contained in how I respond after 2 years of consistent attacks from two individuals. So I want to just say on that point, you and I will never come to an agreement. I stand by everything that I said about him, and I'm not going to have that everything that I say, including yesterday when he says that me finding the products and stuff that he sells and promotes as a rabbi to be unholy, to say that I am only saying that because it's made in Israel is totally ridiculous. But what it looks like to a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you this, and I'm expressing this in case you are an individual, as I'm sure you are, that is concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism. But my suspicion is that people that are watching this are going to think that now we are using the word anti-Semitism like BLM began using racism, right?
Bingo.
Which is to say that you cannot, let me finish my statement. I'm just telling you what I am this is my suspicion. And I have tons of Jewish listeners, but given what you've said about Dave Smith, who is a libertarian, he is not a far left liberal. He just does not support what Israel is doing. So in this, you have said that Jewish people, you've made comments about a lot of Jewish people who maybe don't agree with what's happening in Israel. You are now saying that a person who's been attacked for 2 years still needs to be careful in how they approach a Jewish person that's been doing the attacking. No one is going to accept
That's
that.
not what I'm saying.
That's ridiculous.
Candace,
and then to say this
said.
particular word, it sounds like everything that anybody says, it needs to we first need to weigh it against the feelings of somebody and their history. I could find examples of black people being called witches. I can't then say that nobody can ever call a black person a witch. You know, even if it has what happened in Salem, you could go on, right? But the point is that if you're a black person, you've been attacked for 2 years. I don't care if a person calls them a rabbi. In fact, I would question what it means to be a rabbi. Maybe you can explain. If you have been consistently attacking and threatening somebody, literally, he gave a quote to the Jerusalem Post, which actually I like the Jerusalem Post. They report on things very accurately, in which he says that he wants to bankrupt Candace Owens. That is a direct threat to somebody's livelihood. It is despicable. And because you call yourself a rabbi, it does not mean that people cannot say that it is pointedly ridiculous that you are using finances as a mode of threat against people because you don't like their speech. It is ridiculous. And let me tell you what, that leans into an anti-Semitic trope about Jewish people and money. For a rabbi to stand up and say, let's bankrupt her.
Over me all day. You can scream.
I'm not screaming. I've let you talk a lot. That's not fair. I've let you talk a lot.
Candace, it's your show. You're going to edit and say what you
I'm
want
not
to say.
going to edit this whatsoever. I promise you.
Okay. Great, terrific. I appreciate that. No one has, if someone is attacking you, you can defend yourself. And if someone is saying a bad thing about you, I would even go and defend you as well for them saying that she's a black such and such, she's a female such and such, she's whatever it may be.
No, you won't. Stop lying.
If he's attacking you, and again, I'm not privy to those 2 years of attacks that you've had. But the moment you start saying things like an unholy rabbi, when you do not know a rabbi's job and you don't know Judaism, you don't know what is considered kadosh, what is considered holy or not holy in Judaism. When the moment you make those kind of comments, you've crossed the line.
No, she didn't.
And you didn't need to make them. I get you're angry. I get you feel violated by him. I get you feel that he attacks you unjustifiably. I haven't been part of the discussions, so he may have. But that doesn't ever give you then the right to say what you said. And it demonstrates, again, a pattern of behavior of a
pattern of behavior, bro. That's how your boss talks to you. That's how your supervisor speaks to you. We've noticed the pattern of behavior from you. That's how your principal talks to you. That's how your teacher talks to you. That's how your trainer speaks to you. We've noticed the pattern of behavior from you. We think it's just best that we part ways. We think it's best that we just put you on a hiatus. We're just gonna put you on paid leave, maybe unpaid leave. Right? Like, that's not how some random person you just met that you have no obligations to speak to you. We've noticed a pattern of behavior. Who are you? That lets you know that it's We're on YouTube. I can't say too much. Let's just say some people feel like they're really controlling things.
Of an unawareness that you have about Jewish theology, a lack of awareness you have about Jewish history, and about anti-Semitism. The fact that you can't accept what all academics, I shouldn't say all because everything's all, but what academics, what Lord Sachs, what theologians all accept about that anti-Semitism is the unique hate that mutates. What Prager has done a PragerU video on. The fact that you can't even accept that is in itself problematic.
I think that
do you understand that you have decided that you, Candace Owens, are more knowledgeable, wise, and you may be brilliant in a lot of fields.
That's not what I've said. I've never said these things. I didn't say I was more knowledgeable, wise. I just said I called his daughter a hag, and I meant it. I'm not taking the words back. That's what I've said.
But Candace, the fact that you can't accept that the definition of anti-Semitism, that you think you know the definition better than scholars, academics, Jewish theologians, better than rabbis, is a level of hubris. As I say, you may know all sorts of things about all sorts of topics, but you're now dancing in a field where Shapiro dances, I dance, where Rabbi Shmuley, and I'm trying to tell you that you are repeatedly doing anti-Semitic behavior, but your underlying premise that you said at the beginning of our dialogue was that you don't accept that definition of anti-Semitism.
What I said is I don't accept that definitions mutate, is what I said to you at the beginning of this dialogue.
And I'm telling you that's the definition of anti-Semitism. You have now said that you know more than Lord Jonathan Sachs, who I believe, I'm going to guess, actually knew your father-in-law, because it's not that big of a world there. And you can ask anyone about Lord Sachs. You are now saying that you don't accept the definition. Well, okay.
What I'm saying to you is that there's debate even amongst Jewish people about the definition of anti-Semitism, as I pointed to you.
No, that's a pretty much accepted one.
If you're saying the definition mutates, then you're saying it has no definition, right? It has no definition. Comes from the word define. If it has definition, it has a shape, right? You can't say the shape can mutate. The square can become a circle, can become a triangle. That means that it has no shape. You're talking about an amoeba, right?
I'll say it again. It mutates because the definition, again, I'm quoting Lord Sachs, directly quoting him, where he says that Jews have, this is his definition, it's pretty much accepted. Jews have no right to exist collectively as Jews with the same rights as other human beings.
Yes, that sounds like a definition.
And the reason that it mutates, how that becomes manifest, is because in the Middle Ages, it's about religion. When they come out of the shtetls, when they go into the cosmopolitan areas, and in the 18th through 27th, or 20th century, excuse me, that hate has now manifested and mutated. So it's not about religion, it's about race.
Just so I'm clear, did Lord Sachs say it mutates, or are you saying it mutates?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. I apologize.
Did Lord Sachs say it mutates, or are Lord you?
Lord Sachs.
He says it mutates.
Correct.
Can you just re-say the quotation, his direct quotation?
That is a hate that mutates.
It is a hate that mutates.
It is a virus, he calls it, that mutates, and that he's not alone in that. And then by the time you get to the 20th century, it now has mutated to be anti the nation. So the hate manifests as first religion, then as race, and now as nation.
So would you say that anybody who takes issue with anything that Israel does is an anti-Semite?
Of course not. That's ludicrous.
Okay, because...
That's a ludicrous statement.
Okay, because then why are...
That's a ludicrous statement.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because earlier when we were talking about Dave Smith and I said that some Jewish people don't agree with what Israel is doing as a nation, you suggested that they were self-hating Jews.
That's not what I suggested. What I said is there's a very difference between supporting Israel and supporting Bibi or the government. There's a huge difference. Support of Israel is to understand, and I think, again, this is a place, Eugene Bishop, who was one of the heads of the Central Conference of American Bishops, great Catholic leader, said a number of things, and Monsignor Royal Vatican of blessed memory, I actually heard him say this. Royal said he was one of the first people to do interfaith dialogue after Vatican II. And Royal said the following. He said that no non-Jew can ever fully understand the relationship between the Jewish people and the land of Israel. In the same way that no Jew can understand how a bunch of old bishops old cardinals go into a building, white smoke comes out, and suddenly one of them is infallible. It's a quote from Royal Vatican, blessed memory, one of the founders of Interfaith Dialogue in the 60s and 70s. What I'm trying to explain to you is our tie to Israel. That when you make an anti-Zionist, not just you, when anyone makes a comment, an anti-Zionist comment, that is anti-Semitism.
But when you say
That's
anti-Zionist,
facts, etc.
mm-hmm. But when you say anti-Zionist, you don't mean criticizing Israel's government. Just to be
you
clear.
can criticize the government.
Okay, so I'm just not.
But criticize it. Okay, but let's go. Can we follow that path for a moment? Because I think this might get us somewhere. And as I said from the beginning, I'm optimistic. I'd like to get somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
To criticize Israel's government is one thing. You want to do that? Great. Especially you want to criticize America's involvement in its relationship with Israel. You're an American citizen. I'm supportive of that. But understanding, have you ever read the Covenant of 1988 for Hamas?
No, I have not read the Covenant of 1988 for Hamas.
So let me tell you about Hamas.
We don't need you to tell us, bro. We've seen enough. We've heard enough. That was the interview, in my opinion, where that was the last straw. Candace Owens was had already debated Rabbi Shmuley like 3 times. She debated the guy on Piers Morgan, had him, I believe, on her podcast at the Daily Wire. And Ben Shapiro was just sitting back in the shadows looking like, listen, we brought you over here because you were talented. You mean well. You had built a little bit of a following. You worked at PragerU. You're connected to Charlie Kirk. How about you just stick to criticizing black people, the black community? How about you just stick to white liberals? Right? Stick to that. Stick to these black politicians. Right? You're not smart enough to cover other topics, right? You're far too beneath us to be talking about my community, right? And when she did this, I remember in real time, I was like, she absolutely humiliated the guy. The comment section under that video was, I was like, bro, 99% of the comments were just like clowning this guy, clowning him. But yeah, crazy. But just so you all can understand, the reason why I wanted to react to that was because I believe that was single-handedly the interview that would then later lead to her being fired. Obviously, there were other factors and things that she had been saying and tweeting that played a role, but I believe that was the interview she just completely humiliated the guy. But the reason why it's relevant to my $200,000 celebration, for those of you that didn't catch the beginning of this, is because I decided to go full-time on YouTube a year ago after I was fired from my job for things that I had said on my podcast. And the Lord has blessed me, man. Like, you all support has been overwhelming. And I'm forever grateful. I want to find a way to give back. If anybody can think of a way in which I can do it on YouTube, I'm pretty sure it's against the community guidelines for me to do raffles on here. So maybe on Patreon, man, I have over 7,000. Thank you so much for that. Let's just give ourselves a round of applause on that. In just maybe 5 or 6 months, we have about over like 72 or 7,300 Patreon members. Before anybody get carried away or misunderstand, about 98, 99% of those are free members. Nonetheless, I would like to do some sort of raffle on Patreon. Where maybe I can give maybe $50, $100 back to a few people, man, to just show my appreciation, my gratitude, because it can be a huge leap of faith to step into a field like YouTube and just rely on videos and hoping people will click on my video so that I can make enough money to take care of my family, and hoping we can get the truth out in the process as well, trying to do 2 things simultaneously like that, which are both important, equally as important, right? So I'm forever grateful for that, man. Big time. So let me get to some of you all's comments, man. Boom, 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 boom. Mickey, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Congratulations, Didi. Thank you so much, man. Heck yeah. Where you been at, Mickey? I hadn't seen you the last couple of lives, man. We missed you. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Let's give out another t-shirt or hoodie, bro. Pick someone. Definitely, bet. I'll do that now. Which, by the way, I sent the money to the last young lady. Baron did a raffle for a gift card with a random picker on YouTube. Interesting. I didn't know that. I'm a little scary with doing that. I tried to do it a few months ago, and I was told not to do that. They'll try to take your YouTube channel from you if you get too carried away with that. So let me let's see. Okay, first one I saw, it said pick me. Love Juman. Is it JI5? If you can, how do we do it last time? If you're on Instagram, DM me on Instagram. If it's this profile picture, I'll know it's you. Otherwise, I'm going to need you to email me. My email is ddmotivates@gmail. Let me go ahead and type that in the chat now. ddmotivates@gmail. Shoot me your information, man, and I'll send the money over to you so you can get you something from the merch store. I think you'll like something over there for sure. Or I can order it for you and send it to you. Heck yeah. Thank you, Mickey, for that, man. Heck yeah. That's exciting. I love doing stuff like that. Elaine, thank you so much for first of all, thank you and good to see you. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Congratulations on your 200K. 200K. Heck yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it big time. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this year, man. Really excited. Elaine, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Cash out, super stickers, and super chat party for Didi tonight, guys. Absolutely. Heck yeah, man. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Is it Vero? Congratulations, GD. May God bless you and your fiance's marriage. Thank you so much. I know the income can be iffy with YouTube, but God provides. Absolutely. It can be iffy. But I'm very frugal with my money. So if I make, $600, I hold on to it. I've always been that way since I was a teenager. And so I've remained to be that way. I'm not super materialistic. I rarely ever buy new clothes or new shoes or things of that sort. I like to look nice, but I always try to prepare for a rainy day. And for those of you that didn't catch the beginning, over the next few days, I plan to drop a Patreon exclusive covering Trump's role in the Great Reset that I do believe will start this year. I think certain things have been set into place. We're going to cover some of the, we're going to speak a little bit about the financial market, right? And so stay tuned for that. Ivan, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Congratulations, Demetrius. There is nothing you can't do. Sky's the limit. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. The sky is a limit. So we plan to go beyond the sky, But thank you so much. Sean, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. You are an amazing young man. Didi, God bless you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love your profile picture as well. Just Happy 5377. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. I remember that exact interview. I subscribed to the Daily Wire. God bless you, because when I first found the Daily Wire and I was like, I think I'm conservative. I like what they're saying. I didn't know I was conservative. I thought I was progressive. I thought Black Americans are supposed to be progressive. But what they're saying makes sense. I agree with this stuff. And then I went to the Daily Wire's website and I was like, oh, I'm not paying that much money. It was like you had to pay for like the annual subscription, and it was like $300 at once. I'm like, dude, I'm not paying that, bro. I'm not paying that, bro. So God bless you for doing that. But she subscribed because of Candace. I unsubscribed after they fired her. Congratulations, Didi, on 200K. Thank you so much. Christ is King, Christ is King, Christ is Lord. I'm going to tell you what's interesting about that. I think a lot of people left the Daily Wire. And that's part of the reason why the rumors were just months after Candace was fired, because, they also would eventually let, what's her name? Shoot, I was just watching her video the other day. The other young lady that was the female lookalike of Ben Shapiro. comment section with y'all are about to tell me. Let me go to the comments. What's her name? Brett Cooper. Thank you. Brett Cooper. Brett Cooper, and they let her go. But before they even let Brett Cooper go, so many people had left the Daily Wire and unsubscribed. And it was, conversations about bankruptcy. You let your biggest star leave. You can't let Candace leave because you're in your feelings. That's a bad business decision. Right? Crazy. So heck yeah, Jess, I'm with you on that for sure. Let's see here. Is Melissa, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Congratulations. Also, I have zero tolerance for anyone or group of people that think they are above any other group, but yet I always play the victim. I'm with you 100%. I don't care what you look like. Like I said at the beginning, I watched the Malcolm X movie. One of the most incredible films I've ever seen before, especially with a much more mature mind. I was so much younger when I first watched it. Malcolm X goes from this robber, this thief, this drug addict, this pimp, this fornicator, this worldly person, eventually gets locked up on like 8 charges of 8 to 10 consecutive charges. 8 charges, about 8 charges or about 7 charges of 8 to 10 year consecutive convictions. He goes to jail, finds a guy who turns him on to Islam. He finds out about the who they call the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and obviously he becomes this incredible orator. He starts reading. He gets out, becomes who we know to be Malcolm X. He learns how the white man is the devil. Elijah Muhammad does not teach that some white people, but most, not some white people, not most white people, but all white people are the devil. And the way they were able to convince Malcolm X of this was they said, think throughout your life, have you ever met one single incredible white person? Malcolm X thought back to the white woman he was having sex with. She turned on him, got him locked up because he got convicted for having intercourse with a white woman. For those of you that don't know, that's why Malcolm X went to jail, not even for burglary. He went to jail and served time for having intercourse with a white woman, which was illegal at the time. So he's thinking about these people. He's thinking about the judge who was a white man. He's thinking about the officers who were white men. He said, yeah, Elijah Muhammad may be onto something. He becomes this incredible orator. The Muslims would eventually become jealous of him because they appeared, from their point of view, he became bigger than the program. He had become famous. He was being asked to come onto television networks. They were jealous of him, which Elijah Muhammad had actually warned him may happen. Then Malcolm X finds out that this person that he was willing to lay down his life for, that being Elijah Muhammad, was actually having intercourse with multiple underage girls and very young girls that were in the faith, and he was impregnating them. And they were being reprimanded for having intercourse out of wedlock, when all along it was with the person that they called their leader. Malcolm X was consistent and spoke out about it, and eventually they would take him out, or according to the movie, Muslims unalived Malcolm X. But before they unalived him, he traveled to Mecca, and this is where he found out, I got it all wrong. White people are not the devil. Black people are not superior to white people. Yes, I still believe that black people have faced tremendous systemic racism and oppression in this country, which I 100% agree with him on that. I mean, anybody refute that, you just, what? He said, but the problem or the solution to the issue is not truly being taught to us. They're teaching us division because it's lucrative. And Elijah Muhammad, in his position, was, in his opinion, was no different. But anyways, incredible film, especially once you see how Malcolm X and his perception of the world and how all of us are human. How his perception changed right before he was assassinated. Incredible. Christina, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Didi, I wanted to ask you if you could briefly and simply explain what 33 means. Also, what's the message that these organizations are portraying by subtly using the number all over? Love your show. Sure. So, I'm out of water. 33 is a number that's really big in Freemasonry and the occult. 33 essentially means, in short, so that we don't make this too long, Christina, the number 33 means ascension. It means to ascend to godlike status. You know, there are like 33 degrees. Really, it's you can go higher than 33 degrees in Freemasonry. But 33 is, quote unquote, the most commonly known highest level of degree that you can reach in Freemasonry, which I am under the belief that Freemasons rule the world. I know we use the word Illuminati. I believe that the Illuminati is an actual bloodline. I believe that people really need to be saying Freemasons. No, it does not mean that the local Freemason that you know in your family is a part of some conspiracy to run the world, because there's a group of Freemasons. All right. That's what I'm under the belief of. 33 means to reach ascension. So typically when you're hearing or you're seeing the number 33 used in certain situations, if a person has, quote unquote, passed away, or if a person has, quote unquote, won a fight, if they have, if there's some sort of event and someone came out as the victor or victorious, that's their level of ascension in said field, right? So that's it. So, for example, the Anthony Joshua Jake Paul video I dropped yesterday, which I would highly encourage you to go and check out, for Anthony Joshua to defeat Jake Paul in the 6th round for Anthony Joshua's 33rd fight, with 33 million people watching, and he would go on to win like $96 million. Not to mention that Anthony Joshua is 36. His 2 friends that were deceased or passed away in the car wreck or the car accident that happened just 10 days later were also 36. One could easily look at that situation and say, okay, I see what happened here. Anthony Joshua reached godlike status, quote unquote, and he ascended by defeating Jake Paul in the 6th round. It's also interesting, and I forgot to mention this in that video, that Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul both have 2 first names. Like, what is that about? And my understanding is that Anthony isn't his actual first name, because he's a British Nigerian boxer. But his name has been made more. They gave him an English version of his name so that us Americans could say his name or whatever. That's my understanding. But anyways, he has 2 first names. Jake Paul has 2 first names. I found that interesting. I hope that answers your question. Vicky, thank you so much for the $50 MX. I don't know what that is, but thank you for the super chat. Congrats and Happy New Year. You're great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Means a lot. Jojo, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Fuzzy Logic, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Rabbi Snarkly, aka Barclay, is doing a little bit of yeah, y'all see the word there. As Justin Shades 66 intelligently pointed out, live and learn. Yeah, he did a lot of that. I agree. Thank you so much, Control Your Vessel, for the $50 super chat. You're a real one, Didi. That's the father you're a real one, Didi. That's the father has you and your family tight. You've been grinding out such incredible content. You deserve all success you're getting. I know God is preparing you to be a voice for the voiceless. If Charlie Kirk is alive, this is a psyop. Well said. Thank you so much for the compliment, man. I do believe that the Most High is working in my life. As I've said before, I'm a wretched sinner. I deserve hell. I pray to get better every day so that I can avoid hell. And it's only by the grace of the Most High that we have a shot of not making it there. So yeah, man, that's my position with that. I do feel that the Most High is working on me. I see what He is doing in my life, and it can be scary, but it's exciting because you don't want to let the Most High down. You know that sin is a part of your nature. You know, we're all fallen. We're living in a fallen nation, right? And we're living in a fallen world, and sin is everywhere. Temptation is everywhere. And so I try to fight the human nature and try to listen to what God tells me. So, yeah. Ivan, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. There were cameras, got you. How much pain was endured on slave ships? No cameras. That's not right. History facts are facts. Right. But that's the history. Rabbi Shmuley, Rabbi Barclay don't care about that. They don't care about that history. There's only one history that they care about. It's the most supreme, it's the most important. It's the only one that everybody should take into account. It's the only one that everybody should have empathy for. But everybody else, we don't care about your history. Speak about it in a few seconds and get it out the way. Now let's spend the rest of eternity talking about our history. That, by definition, sir, is bigotry. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat, Melissa. It's been proven the October 7th video was fabricated. Yep. So it's a lot of propaganda out there, you know. Miss Kitka, or is it Miss Kit? Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I am very happy for you. I love how you always get to the truth. I also identify as a conspiracy theorist. I cannot wait to get my merch. Yeah, absolutely. I should have wore that. Where is it at? Is it in here? Okay, it's not in here. I don't know where it's. I think it's in my living room. But yeah, we're conspiracy theorists. Just don't insult us by leaving out our pronouns. Wait till y'all see some of the other merch I got coming. It's pretty dope. If you look closely, do you also see the that's funny. Are you trying to get me in trouble? Thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. And thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. Are you aware of the sus timing of Charlie Erica selling their $6 million home months before 9/10 and allegedly into an apartment? I knew that there's a house where they sold for like $5.5 million or something, I believe out of Arizona. And I believe they also own a lakefront, a lake house on a lakefront somewhere in Florida, or something to that extent. So I'm aware that they sold their house. I didn't know that they moved into an apartment though. I can't verify that. So I'm not sure, but that is interesting if that is the case. Why would they be in an apartment? I will find it very hard to believe, you know. Rabbi Barclay is doing some Olympics worthy mental gymnastics here. It's actually crazy effort. Yeah, he was. I 100% agree. Mickey, what's up, Mickey? Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Didi, you can find this man's tactics throughout John chapter 8. These people's stock and trade is logical fallacy. They follow the father of lies. Amen. I believe it's specifically, I think it's John 8:7 is a great one to go to. There's no innocent yet, right? I already read that one. Candace Owens aligned with the radical right. Oh, well, I'm not for radical anything besides, you know, being a follower of Christ. But I think Candace has reached a point on a surface level, right? From a one-dimensional level. I think Candace Owens has reached a point where she sees the hypocrisy as of 2 years ago on both sides, right? Which is why I don't follow either side myself. When she draws a moral, if I can speak today, thank you so much, Dr. Tibbs, for the $10 super chat. When she draws a moral equivalent, it was like him saying all lives matter. Doesn't mean black lives don't matter. Am I right? Exactly. He didn't like that either. He is a cartoon character. Happy New Year, Didi, and everyone in the chat. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Let's see. They have to characterize October 7th as unequally evil to justify the absolute genocide which they have committed. Right, exactly. And you notice the way he answered the question when she asked him, do you find it sad when a Palestinian kid passes away? And instead of giving her a direct yes or no, he gaslit her. Right? Vegas Music, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Love your content, Didi. Keep busting them over the head with truth. 100 million lies, absolutely. I plan to, brother, for sure. Gypsy Drea, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. You've been around for a while too. Didi, you're growing bigger and brighter. Right before our eyes. You and your channel, my respect for you is hard to put into words without tears. Oh wow, thank you. Thank you. Can't wait to see a bunch of little Mr. and Miss Didi's now, man. You're gonna make me cry. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm excited too. Yeah. Dang, man, that really touched me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Y'all can have me on here crying, man. I love your show, Didi. I'm learning about the Freemasons. Thank you for your hard work. Absolutely. If you haven't seen the Donald Trump Albert Pike video, that will be a great start. Another channel that does an incredible job, I have learned a lot from this channel, is the Truth Is channel. I absolutely love the channel. It's one of my favorite channels on YouTube and has been for years. I've gotten a lot of my information from their channel, from my videos. They speak about it quite a bit. He's interviewed Freemasons before, which I plan to do. I almost did it a couple of times, but that's dangerous because they have to hide their identity, and a lot of Freemasons are afraid to come forward and speak about this stuff. But yeah, that rabbit hole is going to be very interesting for you. So for sure. Mickey, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Didi, I believe there is a concerted effort underway to force the mass migration of millions of diasporic Jews to Israel. Article after article in Israel Times about it. President of, yes, I saw that, and I plan to incorporate that a little bit into the video that I'm going to make on Patreon about Donald Trump and the Great Reset. So for my Patreon members, stay tuned for that because I plan to drop that here pretty soon because there's a lot of moving parts with some people in Donald Trump's cabinet, right? The video that's called Donald Trump, the Dark Magician. If you haven't seen it yet on the channel, watch that video first. Watch that video because it'll help set the precedent or the groundwork or the foundation so that once you watch the video that I'm going to drop on Patreon in a few days about the Great Reset, you'll be able to connect some dots. Because there's a guy in Trump's cabinet called, I believe his name is Howard Lutnick. Very interesting guy. He's tied to some people like Bibi Netanyahu. It just gets very interesting. But those names are going to come up in the video that I'm going to talk about on Patreon. Mickey, thank you so much for the $100 super chat. Can you also give away 4 t-shirts with this? Absolutely, I can. Let's pick some names. Who wants a t-shirt? 4 people. The first 4 people I see in the chat. Okay. Christina is the first one. If you can email me, Harmony is going to be the second one. Harmony, if you can email me, and I have a way to verify that it's you each time. MRM, if you can email me, and the last one's going to be BUD, Full Journey. If you can email me, once again, it's DD Motivates. Heck yeah. Let's do it. Just hit my email, y'all, and we can make that happen. Thank you, Mickey. That's very nice of you to do that, man. Big time. Did you see what was under Candace's name? What do you mean? Like the name of the interview? I'm not sure. I follow. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Keep it up, young brother. Have you ever heard of what? Have I ever heard of who? I hope you still in this chat. So I was just talking about a channel called Truth Is. Let me tell you, arguably my favorite channel ever on YouTube. It's called Chronicles of Judah. Absolutely. I've learned so much from him. I miss his content. I don't know where he went. I hope he's okay. I pray that that brother's okay. One of the most powerful and impactful YouTube channels I've ever come across in my life, and it changed the way I viewed YouTube. I would get on YouTube just for entertainment. I came across his channel and I was like, a black man talking like that? What is he talking about? Blew my mind. Blew my mind. So yes, I love his channel. He had some deep, hard-hitting podcasts. I actually found you looking for him. Congrats. I love him. I love him. One of my dream collaborations is to work with him, if that was to ever happen. So yes, I love Chronicles of Judah. One of the most insightful, impactful individuals I've ever come across on social media, if not the most. I don't know why he wouldn't be number one, to be honest. So yes, very high praise for that person. Yes. Shout out to Chronicles of Judah, or as he would say, peace. Didi, is that a Quran next to you? Do you read it? This is not a Quran, as I've said before. Good question. I do not believe that Jesus Christ was just a prophet. I believe that Jesus Christ was God in human flesh, God in human form. So this is the Holy Scriptures. This is the Holy Bible with the missing books. Right? So yeah. So Jasher, right? There's Jasher. Jasher's a pretty long book. You know, Samuel and all of that. So yeah. Chronicles. No, this is the, you all know it to be the Bible. I call it the Holy Scriptures. Congratulations, Didi. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, and thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Let's see. Very seldom ever buy new clothes myself, but I will be buying 2 allegedly hoodies. Congrats, Didi. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat, Jennifer. Y'all gotta let me know when y'all order the merch. I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of people that's been checking out the merch and buying, man. Like, I don't mind getting emotional on camera, bro, but like, I don't want y'all to always just see me on here crying when I'm just showing how grateful I am, because I really am appreciative, man. And I just want to use this time to say, allegedly is easily my favorite. Like, I identify as a conspiracy theorist. It's probably my favorite phrase, but that allegedly design is pretty hard, I ain't gonna lie. And like the hoodie, I was like, wow, that's incredible quality. And I know I sound biased, but it really is. So Jennifer, if you're comfortable with it, a couple of people on Patreon have reached out to try to send me pictures so I can see what they look like in it. Send me pictures of the merch. What y'all wearing the merch, man. I want to see what it's looking like. What y'all think about it. Heck yeah. Mickey, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Think about what that 200,000 sub count represents in light of your content. You expose the wicked ways of our enemy. Yeah. People hunger and thirst for knowledge, without which we perish. God bless you. Yeah. Mickey, yeah, man, I agree, man. Yeah. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Congratulations, Didi. Christ is King. Amen. Christ is Lord. I don't think your Cash App handle is because you followed the left-hand pad, but if I didn't watch you regularly, I might think otherwise. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you what's so funny about being in this space. I learned from you all too as well. Left hand, in short, is a basketball name. I used to shoot with 2 hands, and then I learned how to shoot with 1 hand while I was in middle school. And a guy that I used to hoop with, I still remember his first and last name, but I won't say it here. One day we was playing ball, and he remembered he finally noticed and realized that I was shooting with 1 hand. He said, "You don't shoot with 2 hands anymore?" And I was like, "No, I'm strong enough to shoot with 2. I'm strong enough to shoot with 1 hand now." He said, "So you shooting with your left hand?" I said, "Yeah, bro, I'm left-handed." And he said, "Bro, I'm gonna call you left hand, bro. That's why you can shoot so well." And I was like, man, I ain't trying to hear that. And then from there on out, up until I graduating high school, he called me left hand, and it stuck. But now I've gotten into the truth space on social media, and you all know me as Didi Got a Podcast, so I got to be careful with that. I also used to open my show with witch. I don't curse. I've never used profanity before. So in place of the BITCH word, I would say witch instead of the B word. And I would make my friends laugh. And for years, people in real life, not on social media, I got people saying the word witch so funny. But you got to understand me in real life. But I had to stop saying on my podcast so that I don't give people the wrong impression. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. But I will say, if you ever wanted to support me where I don't have to, if you ever wanted to super chat me where I won't be taxed on the super chat, because your super chats, I do get taxed on them, you can always hit me on the Cash App. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube like that, but I just did. Let's see. Team Tisdale, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Can you do a video exposing and the downfall of Flint, Michigan, and the cover-up of the water crisis? Is bad here. Let me add that to the list. I'm very interested in that. For sure. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Calm Center, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I appreciate all of the work you do. Love your beautiful heart and how much you love Jesus. Amen. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for noticing. I appreciate you all for supporting. Right? Absolutely. And as I always say, I encourage you all to check out the other content. What's up, Adrian? I believe this is one. Yeah, this is one of the Patreon members that ordered a shirt, I believe it was, and hit me up on Patreon. I still have yet to see a picture. Maybe she sent it to me and I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I thought because Jesus died at age 33, because of that, they tried mocking his ascension into heaven. Congratulations, young man. To God be the glory. Yes, that's the other reason. Thank you so much. There is another reason as well. So part of the ascension is because obviously Jesus died at the age of 33. So Freemasons openly mock that. So you're absolutely right. Thank you so much. That is in addition. It's not an either or. It's an and both. So Malcolm X in 90s, when it was played on campus, life-changing. Been telling everyone to see it for 25 years. How you resurrecting that masterpiece? Listen, I encourage everybody to go and watch that film. Like, it's one of the... I already knew Denzel is... He's Denzel Washington. I personally believe he's the greatest actor of all time. I watched that film and I was like, dude, that is... It's amazing, man. Like, it's just amazing. The acting is like... It's like it was Malcolm X. It was weird. It was weird. So, yeah. Incredible. Incredible. Man. And at the end, when he knew that they were about to take him out, and how he sent his guy who was supposed to be protecting him, he sent this guy at the building on purpose so that he can go ahead and just meet his destiny. I was like, yeah, I'm getting choked up. I had to turn it off because it was right before I went live just now. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Hi, Didi. I'm from the UK. Okay, UK. I started watching because of Candace Owens. I've watched Baron, Ian, Nate. You're my favorite. You are authentic. I like it. Thank you so much. And shout out to all those guys. Baron, Ian. Are you meaning Nate from Valhalla? I've been critical of him here more recently, but I still appreciate a lot of his videos and his positions. It's just more recently he's been doing some things that I don't agree with. But overall, I like his content. But thank you so much for the compliment. I appreciate that. You know, everybody's is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You know, everybody's different, but I just so happen to work for you, you know, and for that, I appreciate it. Want to support my brother and Yeshua. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I appreciate it. Congratulations, GD, from New Zealand. That is so crazy. New Zealand. Yikes. Isn't it incredible how the internet has connected us? You know, the internet has been used for evil, but it's just incredible. You have such talent. Thanks for sharing your gift with us all. Thank you, man. Snoopy, I appreciate that. Snoopy and Milo. Thank you. Congratulations on your 200K. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. And thank you so much for the congratulations. I'm excited. Congrats, DD. Looking forward to the great reset content. Absolutely. And thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Truth seeking girly. My type of person. Congrats and congrats. D&D. Yes, please bring it back up on the scroll. It said News Monkey. Oh, yeah. So News Monkey is the name of the YouTube channel that fortunately was able to download the interview before Ben Shapiro on the Daily Wire deleted it off of YouTube. So that all that means is just the name of the YouTube channel. It actually, I understand why you think it could be a racial slur, but it was just a coincidence. It's the name of the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, FMB Dan. Big fan of the work you do. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Big time. Thank you, Double Nichols and Keto. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Thank you for all you do. Keep up the good work and congrats on your engagement and your YouTube. Have lots of babies. Thank you so much. Oh man, it just sits a little. I'm feeling all bubbly. Thank you so much. I plan to have some kids, you know. See what a little Dee look like. Dee got some kids. Heck yeah, man. Let's see. Big fan these days. Keep on keeping on. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I appreciate that big time. Whoa. I don't get too many of these, man. So I'm always super grateful. And you didn't even say any words. McGee, thank you so much for the $200 super chat. Thank you. I wish I could shake y'all's hands, you know? Y'all are so forthcoming and giving, man. I appreciate it. Congratulations on 200K. Subs, been watching you for a few months, and your content is a piece of my journey to getting closer to Jesus Christ. Yeah. God bless you. Winner. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And yeah. Amen, bro. Amen. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I've never won anything before. I'll be wearing your merchandise proudly. Thank you. Mickey, Shaw, and Didi. P.S. Didi motivates at Gmail. Didi motivates at Gmail. Yep. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. You sending in this money though. You but yeah, okay, yeah, just let me know. Let's see here. Dralatina. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Hello again. I hope you and your fiance are blessed as we are in 2026. My fiance, I don't spend a lot of time talking about her, you know, for obvious reasons because of what I do on here and what I talk about on here. But I will say this: my fiance is a mental health therapist. She got a master's degree a year ago, which was about a couple of years after I got mine. So I'm about 4 years older than she is, and so she's working a lot of hours to get her. There's levels. It's like being a nurse. How you got a, what is it, the RPN or RN, a LPN, and I'm probably saying it wrong, but you know, you got different levels of being a nurse. It's like that in mental health counseling as well. So it's a lot of work and hours she has to put in to get these different certificates. So that's what she's normally doing. And, you know, I'm super proud of her and I love her. So thank you. Thank you all for the encouragement and the support. Ms. Jilly, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I don't want nothing, just happy to be here listening. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Just giving me your money. Alec Buttenberg, my dog, my boy. Alec, how you gonna call me? And stop sucking you. So proud of you, my brother. Can't believe how far God has brought you. Yeah, man. Yeah. Just in a brief few years I've known you. Love you, man. I love you too, bro. Hopefully you're available here in the next couple of days or so. We can get together. Love you, man. Thank you. Truth Music. What up, bro? Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. All Candace gotta say is that the right. Hey, I'm gonna tell you what's funny about this comment. Candace has I can't think of her. A few months ago, a lot of you all may not have been following the channel that long. Maybe about 3 months ago, I had Kelvin on, and then I brought on a woman. If you know who I'm talking about, or if you're currently watching, shoot me an email again, and I'd like to have you back on. I can't think of her name in this moment, so forgive me, but this African-American lady came onto the podcast, and me, her, and Kelvin was having a conversation. Anyway, she has a YouTube channel, and it's like Truth Warrior or something. I forget what it's called. I'm probably way off. But she made a point in her video the other day that was very spot on. She said Candace is making these points about the hypocrisy when it comes to that foreign nation, things of that sort, the people of that nation. But she's like towing the line, and she's like flirting with going all the way, but she won't go all the way. She'll instead make like indirect comments, like saying things like she encouraging Black Americans to wake up to our history, pointing out the fact that some of the slave owners of the slave ships weren't just white people, right? It was also some Jewish people. And she got a lot of backlash for that, but that's literally a fact. And then she follows it up with saying, Black people, I encourage you to really look into what's going on, and they're lying to us about our history. But she won't say what she really means by that in total, you know? So I've noticed that. Excuse my typos. No, you're good. You're good. I'm not crying. You're crying. I'm not crying. That's funny. That's so funny. Just order my allegedly t-shirt. Let's freaking go. I'm telling you, that shirt is cold. Now, I've noticed that because I actually get a notification every time someone orders something from the store. I've noticed that everybody that's bought the allegedly hoodie, for obvious reasons, has only bought the black t-shirt or the black hoodie because it looks fire. It looks just as fire in person as it does on camera. In fact, it looks better in person. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. However, because of that, I think I'm going to order one from a different color, like orange or blue or gray, just so I can be the first one, because everybody else is getting it in black too. Crowned with tinfoil. I like that name. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Thank you for your content and congrats on the engagement. Side note, Candace was a boss in the interview. Candace was a boss in it 100%. And like many of you all notice, she keeps her composure and she just lets them, sink themselves, dig their own hole. Because a lot of people probably wouldn't be able to keep that composure, especially when they're just lying on you, Thank you so much. Is it Allie for the $20 super chat? I found you after Charlie passed through following Candace, and now I regularly watch and look forward to your perspective. You are a breath of fresh air. You and Barron are my new faves. Christ is king. May God bless you always. Absolutely. I said that when Barron goes live again, I'm going to hop over there and send a super chat in. But whenever me and Barron collab, it might break the internet, Because as these people continue to feed us fed, slopping lies, we're going to continue to push back on all of them. And I don't care who I got to call out in the process. Don't lie to me or don't pee on me and tell me it's rain. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Congrats on 200K. Appreciate you. We see the genuine sincerity in what you are doing. And it's very refreshing. Keep spreading truth and light. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Miss Jennifer White, good to see you again. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I have tears. I had to donate again. I see you. If you're confused, maybe you're not like the biggest with like I get it, but I'm easily emotional about this stuff because I said it in my post earlier today when I was thanking you all for supporting me to get me here so far as we continue to grow together. But I mentioned how it's never lost on me how what I talk about is dangerous. I just think I give the impression I'm smiling and I'm great energy, that people may confuse it with naivety, right? I'm not naive about any of it. I understand, and I move accordingly in real life. It may not seem like it, but I move accordingly. I know what I'm doing. I'm very well aware of the topics that I cover, and I know it's dangerous and it's taboo and all of that. Excuse me. I don't care. So when you all are choosing to spend your hard-earned money and send it to me when you don't have to do that, to just let me know that you're noticing the sincerity, it just means a lot to me, you know? It means a lot to me. That's all. So thank you so much for the $10 super chat. To see your genuine tears over $2, $5 or 200, it's so nice to see y'all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. To share with all of us. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget to read your Yeah. Don't forget to read your Bible, Didi. Yeah. I've been slacking here lately too. This is the most powerful. This right here is probably the most impactful comment I've read all night. I agree with you. And I need to be way more disciplined in doing that. I needed to hear that. Ebony, I needed to hear that. Thank you. Been loving you, bearing in these past few months. You're all awesome. Mind if I ask where you find your faith in Jesus, specifically how to trust human mediated info? I ask with an open heart and not to debate. Thanks, Didi. Thank you so much for the super chat, and that's a fair question. I think I've been asked this before. Here's the truth. Depending on where you grow up in the world is going to play a role in your faith, or at least your journey, right? Because if you grew up in India, you're most likely probably going to be Hindu, right? If you grow up in certain parts of the world, you're probably going to be Muslim, especially in the Middle East. If you grew up Jewish, especially in Israel, you're probably going to practice Judaism. If you grew up in America, let alone the South, like I did, in the middle of the Bible Belt, you're going to be hammered over the head with a church on every corner to believe in this character named Jesus. And then it's going to be incumbent on you as your own person to then figure out if you believe because someone told you to believe it, or when you hold it up to the light, or when you hold it up against these other religions and belief systems, what makes the most sense? And I've come to the conclusion that the scriptures, yes, I don't sit here pretending as if I have all the answers. I don't. The Holy Scriptures, many of you all will call it the Holy Bible, I believe is the greatest book ever written. And I believe when you have a book with so many pages, so many stories, so many different powerful words to live by, advice to live by, the Bible is powerful culturally. Obviously, if you want to look at it from a religious perspective or I would rather say spiritually, historically, metaphorically, every facet that you could think of, the Bible hits it, and it hits it greater than any other book ever written. And it's withstood the test of time. And when you consider those things, and you got people over and over and over, attempting to debunk the Bible, you have, experts and scholars debating the scriptures, the authenticity of the scriptures. People saying that it was written by white people. The book is racist. All of those things have failed, right? If you're going to say racist white people wrote the Bible, but they refuse to put in the Bible that black people are inferior to white people, they forgot to put in the Bible that all black people should be, or all people that aren't white should be unalived, or should be like, if you're not going to put things in there, like obviously racist white people didn't write the Bible. Racist white people and others have used the Bible to manipulate and to oppress other people. That has happened. When you look at people saying that the Bible is a mythological, fabricated book, but they fail to refuse to address the fact that the claims of this person called Jesus Christ, who I believe was God in flesh, it has been confirmed outside of the scriptures that this person existed, that there was a following of this person. Then you have to ask yourself, if it's proven that Jesus Christ was a real human being by those that don't even follow him, if there's this evidence to suggest that this person existed, what would you rather do? Risk living your life as if it's going to hurt you to do what the scripture says, or chance it, not follow the scriptures, pass away, you don't get a second chance, and just hope? Nah, it's safer to do what makes more sense to do anyways, So that's my answer in short. I could be wrong, but I think she said, know your history. White people are not your enemy. Something like absolving white people, hence the backlash. Well, yes, she said that to an extent. But my problem, though, is Candace I shouldn't say my problem. My contention, my pushback would be, Candace is clearly alluding to other things. Whether that be about white people, Jewish people, whatever. She's alluding to certain things about history, but she won't talk about it. And I believe that part of it is because she's still learning. Part of it is also because I think it would alienate part of her audience. I believe that's what's going on. So thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Thank you for being one of the few black pods with great content, but you make me feel makes me feel unwanted, too much race division. And never forget, you don't store your treasure in this world. Keep doing God's work. Amen. For sure. I started off this podcast by saying I could easily make a YouTube channel about racism, and the channel would be much bigger because it's low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit doesn't mean that it's not important or that it doesn't exist. Of course not. It just means that we all know that racism exists. So if every video is about proving that it's racist white people who was recorded on camera doing something racist or saying something like sure. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be a space for that, but it's low-hanging fruit. Fine. I just made 15 videos in a row proving that racist white people exist. Now what? This person that was recording this Karen that was recording in Walmart saying the N-word, I think that, again, I think there's a lane for that. But I also believe that after you see that video, and okay, cool, she's racist. Is that going to stop you from paying your bills this month? I don't want to put that much focus, right? I'm not going to give you that much attention that much of my attention, I'll address it in a video or two. I will talk about racism here and there for sure. But dedicating an entire channel to it is just not that important to me. It's not. Love you, Didi. You have such a huge heart. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Upper Garden family. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Ivan, just for that, I ordered a Royal Heather hoodie too. Is it the allegedly hoodie? Oh, that sounds like a good color. Royal Heather. That sounds fire. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know what that looks like. Didi, I've stood on the street corner with everything I own in a Walmart set. Wow, really? No friendly directions to turn more times than I can count. It's so good to be free. Thank you, Jesus. I know you can relate. Yes, I can relate. Those of you that are still here, if you've never seen the outro of my videos, you'll learn a little bit about me. But yeah, I definitely know what that's like, Mickey, for sure. And I'm glad to hear that you overcame that, brother. Big time. Galatians 3:28. There's neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Amen. This is the scripture that they don't like. That being any supremacist, whether it's a Jewish supremacist or a Hebrew Israelite. What about this one right here, bro? What about this right here? You know? You can't just like part of the scriptures. You got to like all of it. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I love the Bible, and I have come to love what they have deemed apocrypha. I don't know if I've ever seen that word. There's a reason why they have scared people away from those books. They fill in a lot of gaps. Congrats, Didi. I agree with you. I'm 100% in agreement with you, Miss G, for sure. Miss G Ness. Let's see. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Her YouTube is Freedom. Yes, that's who it is. Thank you. Freedom in Yeshua Ministry. Lots of truth, but ask for godly wisdom, discernment. Yes, that's her YouTube. Thank you so much. I'm glad you knew. I'm glad somebody knew who I was talking about. Take care. All right, I'm going to read a few regular comments, and then we'll get up out of here. So any questions that y'all have for me, man, I'm going to give y'all about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to shut it down. Let's see. It says, pick me, Didi. I'm a Didi too, but I go by Des. Christ is my favorite alien. Alien? After much seeking, I always came back to Jesus. Alien, you got to explain to me what you mean by alien. I don't believe that Christ is an alien. Haha, found all the merch now. Be sure to scroll. Huh? Let's see. Great t-shirts. Just being silly. Yeah, I'm late. Sorry. It's all good. I just want to say, if I can catch it. Dang. I just want to say thank you again to Mickey, and my name is D too. Thank you for your authenticity, Didi, for sure. Mickey, another person said thank you for looking out, being so generous. Didi, there's only one rabbi, and dude, it's not him. I'm praying for buddy. Dude tore up. Yeah, pray for him. We should all pray for him for sure. For sure. Christ is not an alien. Amen. Are we going to get a wifey reveal? What does that mean? Y'all got to break that down for me. A wifey reveal? Like what she looks like or what? He basically, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He basically admitted with the word hag that they are really just witches and wizards. It's or warlocks, LOC. Right. Like they pick these words and say that's anti-Semitic because of this reason. And it's like, oh my gosh, man, stop it. Stop it. Stop trying to be language police, policing people's language. It's just a turnoff. People are over it. Mark Levin is the same way. Ben Shapiro, like, insufferable. Good day, Didi. Much love and appreciation from Australia. Thank you. Appreciate that. Big time. MRRN. I appreciate your integrity, Didi. Thanks, Mickey Shaw, for the t-shirt. Plan on buying a hoodie too. Allegedly. Y'all trip me out. Hey, that's so funny. Did you do that on purpose? I appreciate your integrity, Didi. Thanks, Mickey Shaw, for the t-shirt. Plan on buying a hoodie too. Allegedly. That's so funny. May God bless you and your fiance. Thank you so much. That really tickled me, man. That's funny. I like what you did there. Didi, why do you think Candace? I don't know what that means. Why do I like Candace? Is that what you're asking me? Didi, sending love from Kentucky. Appreciate you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Big time. That man got that predator alien profile picture. Congrats, Didi. Thank you so much. Why do you think Candace joined Catholicism? Oh, you hit me with one. Okay. Why do I think Candace joined Catholicism? I believe that Candace Owens joined Catholicism because she was on a spiritual journey. And I think based on her surroundings, that is the people that she was surrounded by, many more of them were Catholics, because Catholicism is just the truth, run more rampant in the white community as opposed to the so-called black community. And Candace, I don't know her personally. I don't know what all of her friends looks like. But based on from a business or professional's perspective, she was surrounded by more white conservatives. And a lot of white conservatives tend to be Catholic, you know? So I think she was just persuaded. I think she thinks for herself as well, but I think that played a role. So obviously I don't agree with Catholicism. But again, everybody's on their own journey. So yeah. I got a t-shirt and a hoodie on the way. I can't wait. Mickey, you got to send it to me, man. I want to see it. I want to see it for sure. I want to see it. All right, y'all. I'm going to read one more comment and I'm going to go. Okay, this is probably a good one. Jesus has his hand on your life. I'm so happy he sent a wonderful lady to you to help you in your fight for the kingdom of God. Amen. And I think that right there is a great comment to end this off, man. I love y'all, man. As always, thank y'all for tuning in. You know, hit the like button on your way out. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Ooh, it's only 1,800 of y'all left. So I'm going to say this now. Brian, the auditor, is going to come back onto the channel here in the next couple of days or so. Got a lot of work, a lot of stuff in the loop, a lot of stuff. I'm still working on the Kobe Bryant video. All that stuff is coming, I promise. But the Somali, the whole fraud story that just came out in the news. I don't know if you all heard about that, about the fraud that came out, about the anyways, there's another story that's related to that that's even bigger, that I plan to drop on this channel in conjunction with Brian the Auditor. So stay tuned for that. Y'all don't want to miss that video. It's going to blow your mind. Seriously, man. So yes. It's some craziness, man, for sure. So heck yeah. So I got that coming up here pretty soon. Stay tuned for that. And with that, man, y'all have a great rest of y'all night. I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. Peace. Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate of UCA, and his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree first at a community college here in Arkansas and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to me. Talk to me. Alright, let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. You're worse than the rich white people who are, or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you? Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.